By two formation, change now, we go racing for the first time this season, 3 hours of GT action, it's go!
That's very tight as they come down, group of cars coming in, this has all got trouble written all over it, this is G3 cars.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale, Imola of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, putting that truck inside line, yes he did, through he goes.
Hello there everybody, welcome back to if you just bear with me one moment, because my ACC has crashed. Hello there Benny, we are live, however we don't have a view on the track as of yet. I need to restart my game. So you will just have to bear with me un momento while I sort of
take your time. It's all good.
Ran absolutely no problem for so long, and it's finally crashed. Never actually seen it crash like that before, so that's new, I guess. Anyway,
What crashed the game?
yeah, the game crashed. I don't know why. I am on my way back in.
I know they restarted the server, so
That might be it. So I'm just going to try and disconnect that. Yes, if you bear with me, the pit wall link will not currently work. Just cause I need to reconnect and have everything.
the pit wall link just updated, just re-updated.
Awesome. And my broadcasting client has crashed as well. Everything's breaking for me today. Okay. Well, let's restart that.
Oh, I just lost connection to the server.
Okay. I do apologize, everybody. A couple of teething issues as we get started. The pit wall will... I just need to restart my game so that I can actually run a broadcast using the tools that KUNOS have so graciously given to us. Hello to everybody in the chat. Again, you will just have to give us a small moment while one, the server updates, and two, while my PC decides to do whatever it's doing. Anyway, what I shall do is welcome you all to round one of the AOR Endurance Championship season number 2. We are at the lovely circuit of Silverstone in the south of England. I am joined currently in the commentary booth by Mr. Benikage, and later on today we will be joined by one and only Fizzymon and Timosaurus, who many of you will already know. But my partner in crime for at least the first few hours will be Mr. Benikage. How are you doing, Benny?
Doing good. How are you, Chinson? Aside from
besides
absolutely
the
scrambling at the
besides
bits
the
right
te-
now.
besides the teething issues, I'm not doing
Yeah.
too bad. I'm just making sure that a lot of the liveries have actually loaded, which
You're gonna have it all here today, chat. You got
There we
Chinson,
go.
you got me, Benikage, you got Fizzymon coming in. You got it all today.
Okay.
But we got a great race ahead of you. It is the 9 Hours of Silverstone, season 2 of the AOR Endurance Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. And you couldn't pick a better track to start your season off, quite frankly.
Okay, there we go. Now I just need to unmute the game, which is in here somewhere. There we go. Everything should be good now, he says with high, well, mid to high hopes. Anyway, so we have a listed grid of 53 teams for Tier 1. Anybody wanting to catch Tier 2? Unfortunately, we will not be covering that here today. Tier 2 will be covered possibly by the teams or drivers that would be taking part in that tier, that split, whatever you, however you want to call it. I believe I've just seen a cone go absolutely flying across the track already with, yes, so I think they're going to get started pretty soon. They're going to forward that. Everybody's just getting the cars. Sorry, go on, Benikage?
I was gonna say, would you like me to do a quick rundown of the grid? Take about 2-3 minutes here, run down this grid that we're expecting to see.
A little note to some of the spectators. Following the Super Bowl session, I did try and get the liveries working. They are working on my client, but for whatever reason, they're not working properly in the server. So if your livery is missing, I do apologise. I have tried to get them working and visible. Some of them have actually returned, some of them haven't. So, again, if you don't see your custom livery there, then I do apologise. I have tried to reinstall and check them before the session. Take it away, Benikage. Who we got for the grid?
All right. On the grid, Andy van der Vel and Van Mal's SimSport number 58 on pole after the Super Pole 156.8. They're followed by George Boothby in the KEKW Crown Fiesta Esports 869. Third place is for first of 2 PCTC Motorsports cars. That'll be Mats Lynam Anderson lining up for the first one, number 12, followed by the number 213 with Joe Magali in the driver's seat. Number 5, Beaver Grease Racing Lithuania. It's going to have Grantis Caracas in the driver's seat, followed by the first of 2 Forza Italia e-racing cars in the top 10. Adam Dubiel will be in the driver's seat for the first one. Number 7 is Silver Racing Team. It's going to be Ratchetiak, Mr. Ratchetiak. I probably butchered that name. Apologies. But Silver Racing Team number 7. Van Wall SimSport number 57 is going to be in 8th. Connor Wright in the driver's seat, the second of the 2 Forza Italia cars in 9th. Lucian Poracina is going to be in the driver's seat there. Valentin Barrier, who had his time invalidated in the Super Bowl lap, is going to be for Giga Chad Racing team. Or Racing Tim, as it says on the sheet, in 10th. 11th, PTC Motorsports number 448 with Mr. Hawk in the driver's seat. Dennis Strelnikov is going to be in the driver's seat for Crazy Foul Racing Team number 1. 13th is going to have Christian Kampricker in the driver's seat for Team Snail Esports. 14th is Redline Zach Racing. Nathan Pierce is going to be in the car. I apologize if I butcher these names, by the way. Butler Pound Motorsports in 15th. There's a solo driver, or I'm sorry, not solo driver, one of two drivers on that team. It's going to be Max Melamed in the driver's seat. Front left tire scrubber esports in 16th, and then with Mr. Mulholland in it. Flying Estonians with Yus Perek is in 17th. GTWR RHG Academy is going to be in 18th. Revolution Sim Racing in 19th with Neil Baltus in the driver's seat. Heart Attack with Nick Kononov is going to be in 20th. Would you like me to keep going? I can try to fly through this as fast as I can.
I'll give you vocal cords a little bit of a break. Number 21, we have Armamentario Skidanov Racing with Sergei Skidanov starting. We also have the no-name team, car number 95 with Sem Smeets, a returning face to the Endurance Championship. We have Victorious Secret, not Victoria's Secret, as me and Tim and Rage got wrong last season. Victorious Secret, but better, the number 51. With Zytek starting the race as well. We've got Dremament Racing 169 with Daniel Krebs starting the race for them in 24th. 25th, we have the Virtual Drivers Alliance, the 115 with Armando Ortenzi starting the race. 26th, we've got Celtic Bromance Skirt, and the number 77 with Remy Papin at the start. Beeswax Racing Pollen in Love With You is in 27th, 666. We have Baboon Motorsports in 28th, the number 9. 29th, we have the Crow Racing Team Squad, the car 370. 30th, we have Simulation Esport, number 28. 31 is Victorious Secret, the number 55, a returning face to the Endurance Championship as the 55 Ferrari, I believe. Again, another returning face, N7 Racing, the 117 Bentley, a couple of returning faces as well. Number 33, we have Goat Racing with our one and only Mr. Urs in racing there, along with Jaspan Rutin starting the race for them. We have Indian Racing Community IRC TBD, the car number 24 starting in 34th. 35th, we have 2 seconds off the pace, number 26. In 36th, Porsche Spinella team, car 199, possibly the only Porsche running in this championship so far. 37th, we have STMP Endurance, the car number 760. Then we have Non-Grada team, the car 176 in 38th. 39th, Goat Racing number 1, the 444. Again, a couple of returning faces. Superior Vantage Racing in 40th, the car number 30. FACC joins Victorious Secret, the number 74, starts in 41st. We have SERP Motorsports AM in 42nd, car number 87. Behind them in 43rd, we have WB Racing, the 147. We then have Dutch Sim Racing Team RGB Solutions, number 16 in 44th. 45th is Single and Good Looking, number 7, kind of like myself, nice one. 46th, we have Assault Squad, car number 6. Number 47 is Speed Eagles Team AMG, the 96. Number 48 is Celtic Bromance / NI Nighthawks, the 177. I'm going to try my best to pronounce this one. In 49th, we have Lua Bemivu Pazito. I hope I haven't butchered that too much. The car number 326. 50th, we have Your Way Racing, the 808. The 51, we have Yeet Gaming, number 1, a returning team. Beaver Grease Racing Extra Greasy, the Beaver Grease boys are back again in the number 10. And then we have Highway Racing, the 969. That is your grid for today's 9 hours of Silverstone. I believe all drivers are present and correct. So, we have 9 hours, about 4 commentators, and I do believe Benikage has a mug full of tea. So, seems like we are all set for what should be a pretty fun race ahead of us. First few laps, what are you looking for, Benikage?
Well, the first few laps, like anything else, is going to be who can avoid the absolute carnage is going to be going down into turn 1, certainly. But nonetheless, you think a lot of these cars, it's going to be tricky going into Meckets and Beckett's, I think, for a lot of these cars. So if you can get through that section of the track cleaning, I think you might be in the clear, at least for any lap 1 instance. But 9 hours on the clock, and the session start timer down to 3 minutes. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. We're in for a long haul here, Chinson.
A long haul indeed. Fortunately, we have a lot of cars and a lot of petrol to do said long haul. We've got just over 2 minutes before the session actually starts. If you are currently coming in, welcome. You're just in time for the race start. If you were here for the Super Bowl, welcome back. Yeah, so you will have to deal with myself, unfortunately. You may recognise my voice from last season. So we will see how we get on. 9 hours, and we have the 58 Bentley on pole position, split by 25 hundredths of a second, 0.025 in the Super Pole, with George Boothby running in second place, also known as UCog Monkey. We do have a couple of familiar faces, both to the AOR community, sim racing community, and also myself. A couple of my friends are racing in this as well. I believe they were in Tier 2 last season, so it's nice to see them up in the top league as well. So I'll be keeping a specific eye on them and obviously roasting them for any mistakes they do make after the race, of course. But here we go. 1 minute and 20 to go, making final changes to your tyre pressures, to your fuel, to your brakes possibly as well, to any possible strategies you may want to change. So now is the perfect time. Action areas are probably going to be turn 1 through Maggots and Beckett's, and then the race down to Stowe. So I will try and keep an eye on everything for you, for everybody here. If there are any drivers or team members who are watching this and want to come and have a chat with us, please feel free. Just pop into the ready for interview thing on the AOR Discord, and we will bring you up so we can have a nice little chat how your race is going.
Just a quick word as we wait for the final 30 seconds. A big thank you to, first off, the sponsors that helped put this on. SIMSOK, Driver 61, definitely check them out. You can get 25% off a free consultation session and a free coaching session when you use code AOR Driver 61. And also a big thanks to all the viewers. And if you haven't already, drop us the follow on YouTube for more of this endurance season, as well as our sprint season in ACC and also Formula One. But 10 seconds countdown is on, Chinson. It's time to get underway here at Silverstone.
Yeah, so we got the formation lap coming up, full formation lap for the start of the race session. So just waiting for that to get underway, and away they pull. So that Van Wall BMW pulling away quite nicely. Yeah, again, I do apologise, a couple of deliveries haven't worked out. However, one of the PCDC deliveries has come through. That has worked, so I'm happy about that, because I do quite like it. So yes, away we go. So most important thing, Benny, is to do what on the formation lap at Silverstone especially?
Get the tires warm. That's what I would say. Get the tires up to temperature at least, right? You definitely want to, because you're definitely going to absolutely need the grip from them. Especially, remember, it's not, F1 starts at the other side, right? Towards Loop and Village and all them, right? Over here, it's a very much more unforgiving start, because you are going to need the maximum grip for these first few corners. I mean, you're talking about cops and right into Maggots and Beckett's at the start. That's a heavy demand on the tires. So for me, got to get the tires warm, got to be prepared to go and get clean off the line here.
Yeah, I mean, you can already see the BMWs just wiggling a little bit more. One thing you can do is ride the brakes a little bit harder, especially for endurance. They will last, they will put up with a punishment. What you can do is, you can, while you're running your car, keep your foot on the accelerator, keep your foot on the brakes, warm the brakes up. The heat will radiate to the tyres, so you can get them a little bit warmer, a little bit quicker as well. But obviously, the one thing you don't want to be doing is pushing them too much. You get a little bit of wear out of them, especially coming into the start. But yeah, George Boothby doesn't look to be doing much weaving there, so as opposed to a couple of the other drivers. We are going to keep an eye on the leading two. So Marlon Andrade, who put in an absolutely stellar performance with a 156.810 for pole position, and then George Boothby, UCog Monkey, as part of KEKW, who will be, I'm assuming, joined later by the one and only Jadier. 0.025 behind, so it was quite a tight race for the pole position. I forgot to mention, you actually won that. You won that guessing game there, Benny. 156.8. You won that one. So
I was trying to be humble about it, and I wasn't going to brag, but yeah, it was.
Oh, is that it? You would be
nice little consolation as my first gig to land that.
Yeah. So you can see just how many cars we have on track. So as they come through Farm, Village, and into the loop, there are still cars at the back, still going through Abbey, or if you're a Formula One fan, Turn 1. However, we are not in the world of Formula 1 today, we are in the world of GT3. So turn 1 will be Cops, and quite a nasty turn 1, it must be said. Abbey's a lot more forgiving than Cops is. Cops is quite a sharp curb on the inside, as the other Van Wall Sim Sport has quite a distinct livery, so you can see it in the background as well. Again, not much tyre warming from a couple of the cars behind. But we'll see how that gets on. Oh, it has just started raining, Benny.
Yeah, on the formation lap, it's starting to rain.
It is supposed to get relatively rain in the next 10 minutes, but in 30 minutes, it is supposed to dry out. So we've already been thrown a curveball, even before the green, which we are coming around to now. So what I will do is I will switch to the helicopter for the start of the race. It is a wet race as we start these 9 hours. It is British weather. I'm expecting there to be more rain coming up. You can see that both of those cars are just tentatively getting on the throttle a little bit, speeding up, ready for the go.
Yeah, it's oh, the rain's getting it. Looks like it's getting even heavier.
And away we go. The Ferrari getting a much better start there, but the BMW not taking too many. So George Boothby at turn 1 at the start gets the lead of the race, and it looks like there's already a battle for P3 with the two PCDC cars getting fairly close to each other through Maggots and Beckett's, which is ideally not what you would want, especially in these now tricky conditions, as it is beautiful to see all those cars filter through. We've already had a crash, 2 cars off at Chapel into the wall. The 781, I'm not sure if you saw the other one that came off, looks to be the 177 that has gone off the track as well. BMW getting a fairly bad start. PCDC car coming through quite nicely to challenge for P2 currently. So the PCDC boys trying to get an early start.
Oh, another incident as well.
A little bit of contact between the two cars. Nothing much to be had with it there. Possibly just to do with the conditions, and the stewards may look at that as a racing incident, as the BMW looks to be taking an outside line, possibly trying to find whatever grip there is left on this Silverstone circuit, getting very close to each other as the McLaren, the 720 McLaren goes through as well. So how far ahead is George? George Boothby is already up to over 1.5 seconds. That fighting for P2, P3 will have helped as well as they come snaking through.
Oh, another incident towards the back here. It looks like the 101's been involved in an incident. Just 2 cars coming together there at Luffield. And I'll tell you who's been the big winner, though. Caracas is up to 4th position already. So the McLaren doing well, but yeah, a lot of these drivers having some early incidents. So maybe some of the front runners that we had that we expected to be up here towards the front, making some collisions early on, and I'm trying to see compared to where we started, where some of these cars have already dropped off on. But yeah, Barrier as well. Remember, he had the invalidated time. He's up to P5.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it was definitely a curveball with it starting to rain just before the start of the race, so the track is getting the track surface is changing quite a bit already, even within the first few minutes. It's going to be around 10 minutes of rain, then the track's going to seems to dry off, so I wouldn't expect any of the drivers to come in for a tyre change. It's just not worth the overall time loss, as we do keep an eye on the 101 as they all filter in to Brooklands and through Luffield. A little bit of a scruff in front between a Mercedes and an Audi, but we will keep an eye on that as we move back up front. George Boothby's doing all right. There's quite a there's a nice gap between a fair few of the drivers. It seems to be pretty close in the kind of like the second half of the top 20.
There's been an incident at the back as well. Levchenko in the 744 has been involved in an incident with the 51. That's Zytek as well.
That is a lot of damage to that BMW. That is an extraordinary amount of damage. That is a pit stop immediately. That is that's an incredible amount of damage. So the stewards will be looking at that, I would imagine.
We have another incident as well. Solonsev in the 176 is off as well, with Liu in the 118 having contact. So those two went off as well down the I believe it's the Hamilton Straight towards Luffield area. So
that is the Hanger Straight.
That's the Hanger Straight. Beg your pardon. Yeah. So
yeah, the conditions definitely testing the drivers so far. But yeah, that BMW will have to come in and pit. Possible damage on the McLaren just behind it as well. Maybe the bonnet's lifted it up a little bit. How are we doing? So yeah, the field's getting quite spread out already.
How's this for the disaster really for PCDC? Joe Macaulay, I should say. Yeah, Joe Macaulay. P4 was their start. He's in the pits to repair damage, so that Ferrari having to take an early pit stop. So for P4, now is falling down the grid towards the bottom 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to have an incident, to be honest, it's not great to have it at the start of the race, because that does then put you on the back foot. As an Audi in the back, as an Aston Martin in the background goes very wide through club, it can just dampen your spirits during, especially the first stint, which is probably one of the more important stints, because then you can set your pace, you can kind of get into the rhythm, you can get your car roughly where you need it. That is a lot of cars in the pits, Benny. I see about 4 or 5 currently in the pits as the leader is coming down the Hanger Straight towards Brooklands already. So within the first 10 minutes we could be looking at a couple of cars getting lapped, which is not really what you want to see. And the 101 has possibly gone off at, that's Farm Village, I think that's the loop, that. So possibly just overdone it and had to take to the grass there. But yeah, it's the field is definitely starting to spread out. The 744 is of Arthur Levchenko, that BMW that had a lot of damage. Now has the leader George Boothby right behind him. Not really what you want to see at the start of a 9-hour race, Benny. No,
absolutely not. And I'm wondering what is going to, the condition of the 101 who's running in 30th, what the condition of that car is going to be, because that 101 qualified P7, so Witziak is going to be on the back foot here in this opening stint. So it's Philip who's actually taken the starting position. So the Silver Racing team finding a bit of difficulty here, trying to get around Gosselin in front in that Bentley, but not able to. But yeah, as few of our top 10 from the Super Bowl here, Chinson, having some early incidents and really struggling, as the 26 seems to have an issue on the front straight.
Yeah, I'll tell you who's not having an issue. The number 12 PCDC Aston Martin. They've got the gap back down from over a second to 0.3 to George Boothby. So the conditions definitely favouring Matt Sanderson in the number 12 Aston at the minute. He seems very comfortable with the conditions right now, which ideally is what you want. I mean, these two have had both George Boothby and Mats in the number 12 have had a fairly clean start, so they've just been able to read the conditions, see how the car wants to handle, and just get on with it. But that early traffic coming up for George Boothby may play a bigger role in timing than we may yet see.
Yeah. We want to talk about liveries real quick. All the way at the back, Levchenko. That's a beautiful livery.
Let's
well
have
played, sir.
a look. Levchenko.
52nd. He's actually about to be lapped. Boothby's coming around him, so he's going to have a blue flag here in front of Boothby. But nonetheless,
I will say for me, it is it's a light blue and yellow livery.
it is for me as well. It's the flag of Ukraine. So shout out to Levchenko for putting that on for today's race. But Boothby already passed him, and like you said, there is quite a bit of drivers who were in the pits at the opening laps. Interesting to see what the drivers really have either benefited or have not benefited from it as we get into just about the fourth lap here. Lynham Anderson was pretty close, by the way, to Boothby. I think the gap, I want to say the gap was down to about like 2 tenths, and he seems to have dropped about 6 tenths.
He dropped off a little bit on the following lap when Boothby was coming up to the 7:44. They lost a bit of time there, so they haven't lost too much time through the lap traffic.
Right.
But obviously they don't really want to be losing any time to any traffic whatsoever, because they just want to get on with it. Marlon Andrade has had a bit of a sour start. Started on pole, currently running in P3 in the Van Walsum Sports number 58, and the sister car number 57 with Connor Wright at the wheel, close behind. So top 10 definitely shaken up by the classical British weather. I will say.
Yeah, very much
fact,
so.
How is it outside today for me? It's actually quite nice. I've got sunshine out for me. So very much the opposite to the race we have currently.
Yeah, there's a good battle going on in the midfield as well. Metternich in 21st. He just got passed by Hortensi, and he seems to be a little off the pace because Mo, who in the 117 is right behind him, really pressing for that position. So we'll see if this 666 can keep it. But there's a lot of still. You said they are starting to spread out, and they have, but there's still a huge bunch up in the midfield. You can see even right behind Metternich and Watson.
There's around 4 to 5 groups at the minute. You've got the lead group. You then have the group behind, starting with the number 45, which is Denis Strelnikov. And then you have the next group with, I believe, the 51, if I am reading my UI correctly. And then we have the group just currently being led by Robin Moe of the N7 Racing, which I absolutely love, because it's a call to Mass Effect, and livery simple, but I like it. And the Bentley just does whatever the Bentley wants. But yeah, so we do have around 3 distinct groups today. So we will definitely have to see how the battles pull out. That Bentley is starting to pull away though, so definitely that McLaren is definitely starting to drop back a little bit now to 1.6 seconds. There is still quite a few nice gaps in there, under a second, even closer to half of a second as well. So looks like the battles we may be focusing on for the moment will be in the midfield.
Yeah, certainly. A lot of positions are still going to be shuffled around, you would expect, in the midfield. So Boothby on lap 5, and like you said, there's still quite a few groups here as well that need to wind up spreading out a little bit more. But you know, some cars with the early advantage, and I'll tell you who's got a really it looks like he's got a good advantage, and that is the number 77, Celtic Bromance Skirt. He's up in P10. That's Papin. Managed to keep his nose clean, and he's gone from 26 to the top 10. So nicely done by that team as well.
Yeah, currently behind Hack on the boards. Currently behind the the first. Is that a PCDC car? That is not. I do apologise for the number 48. The 48 team that is running the PCDC livery for some reason. PCDC boys have 3 cars today?
Yes, 2 made the Super Pole, 1 did not make the Super Pole. 1 finished at 11.
Okay,
So.
PCDC. Okay, that's fine. I thought ACC was deciding to play games for me today, but no. So they are currently behind the second PCDC Aston Martin running today. Although they are currently under threat from the McLaren of Stockton. Now, McLaren doesn't exactly like the wet weather. Who'd have figured? British car doesn't like British weather.
I was just gonna say, I was like, that's odd.
But it seems to like Silverstone fairly well. But again, there's quite that McLaren's running fairly wide. In front of, I believe that's Strelnikov in the 45 as we do come through. Let's have a look at.
Yeah, he is
gaps
in the 45. He's got 8 seconds ahead of him. Interestingly, a note that Wright, who is running in 3rd, he's pretty close to this Aston Martin in front of him, Lyndon Aronson. It was the gap was about half a second. It's now 0.2 more than that, but still, you know, really keeping it pinned to the tail of that Aston Martin. So Lyndon Anderson, as he's losing time to Boothby over the course of these laps, he's going to have to keep an eye on what that Beamer does behind him, because anything, you know, any slight slip up and Wright is going to be all over that rear bumper.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just switch to Connor right now. It looks like they did get a better exit out of Cops coming through Maggotts and Beckett's as the rain has stopped. Something you will never hear a British person say in the real world, as the rain does as it pleases. We already have a drive-through for the number 45. Let me see if I can find out why. Has that been applied by race control? It has not. That will be applied by Assetto Corsa itself. So that is definitely something that's quite interesting. So that will be for, I'd assume, track limits.
I would assume so as well. I'll see what I could do in terms of digging up the information for it, but yeah, it looks like a drive-through penalty for Strelnikov in the number 45 McLaren. That is going to be the Crazy Foul Racing 1 team. Did well, qualified 12th, now up to 7th, about to fall down the order, but big fight, by the way, in the midfield still. Poppin is trying to really catch this Aston Martin in front of him, the number 48. So, you know, maybe an eye on that battle. Is less than a 10th, and now he's had to pull out. But he's got a whole train of cars as well behind him. So, real big group here to get into the top 10 to keep an eye on. Is Poppin maybe tries to reassess for the move.
Yeah, it does look like Poppin may have made that move on the 46, now chasing down the 48 as well. As we're still watching the 57 of Connor Wright and the number 12 of Maslin Anderson, as they are sticking with each other within around half a second. That gap now down to under 0.3 as we come to the end of the first 20 minutes of this race, which has seen quite a lot of interesting developments.
Strelnikov has come in for his drive-through, by the way, so he's serving that drive-through now.
You have, so the rules of a drive-through, you will have, or any penalty applied, whether it be by the stewards or by ACC itself, you will have a maximum of 3 laps to serve the penalty before you will have a time penalty added, or even worse, possible disqualification, which is not something anybody wants. Yeah, at the minute the track is now drying up again. It's now back to greasy, so they will start to get a little bit more grip, and it looks like that that BMW is getting a little bit more grip than the Aston Martin of Maslin and Anderson at the minute. The fastest lap currently by Marlon Andrade.
I believe that's what's our pulse sitter as well. So
it's a 2:06.145 at the moment.
Nice. Very nicely done. So, a lot of battles to keep an eye on. Like we said, Poppet's still trying to close in that 77 on the 48, and then Wright as well, trying to find just a little bit of difference to get by Lynham Anderson in front. So, Van Wall SimSport trying to find a way around and up into P2. He's staying as close as possible as he can to this rear wing, but he's just got to continue to try and reel in this this number 12 in front of him.
Yeah, just watching the 77 and the 48 go at it at the minute. Yeah, see if we can go on board. So that is the gap they have. It is around 0.3 of a second.
Wright's making the pass, by the way, on Lynham Anderson down the cops right now.
Let's jump to that.
He's got it. He's got it.
That stick. Okay.
Well, I will say one thing. Christian Horner might believe you don't stick a wheel up on the inside of cops, but Connor Wright does not believe that to be the case. He's absolutely went for it, and he made it work. He's at P2.
Yeah, I'm going to stay. I will stay away from that comment there.
It's all a bit of banter, Chinson. It's all good.
Yeah, I'll happily stay away from that one. So Matt Lynham Anderson is now in P3. We have Grant Scrackers P4, Valentin Barrier now in P5. So a nice opening stint for Valentin in the 72 Aston. Now I do believe Pappen and Hack are still going at it as they come through Stowe. So it's still roughly around. Booth B now has the fastest lap at 2:04.8, so the times are starting to come down as the clouds part and we start to get a little bit of sunshine. Track is quite toasty actually, 30 degrees.
Yeah, I'm surprised the rain didn't cool off more.
It's possibly just the sheer lack of the amount of rain that was actually put on. If the track's fairly warm and the rain doesn't last long, then it doesn't affect it too much. It just affects like how much you can push and your braking and things like that. But yeah, so we will start to see these lap times tumble. So don't be surprised if you see the purple indentation just bounce around a little bit. Pappen lost a little bit of time to Hack there coming through the loop, so we'll see how they get on.
Yeah, that's the other battle I was watching as well. So that's probably the closest one that we've got on the track right now, at least for the top 10. There are a few others. I mean, cars still need to spread out more. They will over the course of time, obviously, but still a real interesting group to keep an eye on from about, I want to say, like 8th to like 13th. They're kind of real close together. A lot of close battles there. So, but a lot of incidents, I should say, so far in the opening few laps. I haven't seen race control send us anything. So
yeah, race control hasn't lit up as of yet. Do you want something? Do you want another spanner in the works, Benny?
What's up?
It's raining in 30 minutes.
Oh yes, the rain's coming back in 30
More
minutes.
More rain in 30, it is indeed. Hello Nigel, how are you doing? Oh, Nigel is actually one of my friends racing today in the 555 Beamer, I think, with Max Melamed, I believe, and Juan Diaz, who I've also raced with actually, so it's quite nice. I have previously raced
up 2
with
positions
Nigel.
from their qualifying spot as well, so
yeah, they're doing
already
quite well.
making
So
gains.
yes, they will get stick if they cut corners or slide about. Just because I'm like that as a friend. That Aston is dipping out of the way. The number 30 Aston was very, very quick to move out of the way down the Hamilton straight of the P2 and 3. That. Ooh, here we go. Is there going to be anything in this?
Are you looking at
Pappen?
Yeah, I was going to say Pappen.
Currently on board. Going up the inside, can he make it stick? You can still see the Aston.
I think Hack's giving him a lot of room to make that stick, and Papa's going to take full advantage of it. Looks like he's absolutely gotten in front. So a nice move from the Celtic Bromance. He's stuck. It was a little bit dicey, I thought, sticking the wheel up on the inside. I just didn't think he had enough clearance, but Hawk gave him the respect, showed him the respect, he gave him the space, and Papin was able to push it through. So nice overtake in the end from the 77, and that's another position gain. He's going to be up to P7.
Yeah, we are now starting to see quite a bit of lap traffic, possibly some cars that have had some damage in the starting phase of the race, as Papin does seem to be putting a fair bit of distance now between between himself and the 48 Aston. Kind of getting out a bit of a gap. The next car back is Stockton, who is a bit of a distance. So if Hack can keep with Papin, then they can kind of just give themselves a bit of breathing space.
Yeah, as Bright, by the way, you said that fastest lap is going to bounce around a little bit. It's with our second place driver, the number 57 of the BMW, right? But he's 2.2 off the pace now.
Yeah,
from our leader.
So yeah, there is quite a gap now. There's 2.2 seconds to the leader from Conor Wright, and then to Mats Lindemann back there is nearly 3 seconds. So the leading four are starting to get a fair gap out front. George Boothby is just absolutely flying in a minute.
Yeah,
he seems very happy.
So, Papin, like you said, putting a little bit of distance. 6/10 is now the distance between Hack and Papin. So it was a nice pass that Papin finally was able to get done. Next one that I'm kind of keeping a close eye on: 13th and 14th, the 555 and the 95. That Porsche that we talked about, Smeets up into 14th. Yeah, and about just 4/10 off of this 555 that he's been kind of getting pushed here in 13th. So
I believe that's the Butler Pal. Yes, Butler Pal Motorsports.
Yeah, Butler Pal Motorsport.
BMW. Yeah, so that's a couple of friends running in that BMW. Where did that McLaren come from? That McLaren just absolutely smashed the brakes fairly late and got quite a distance gain to Sam Smeets in the Porsche. The only running Porsche in the championship, not just in Tier 1, but I don't believe there's one in Tier 2 at all. The BMW goes through. Can the Porsche get there before Cops? Not really. A little bit of a compromise line as that Aston does get in the way of the McLaren as well. So BMW's got a little bit of breathing space there. Thanks to the lap traffic. Not really much they could do to stay out of the way, really. Cops is a little bit of a bad one for letting lap traffic through, so not ideal for the Porsche, but again, not really much that they could have done there as they now come through. So again, a little bit of a gap now, now building back up, as that you can see the McLaren in the background once again. Coming through the list, Grantus Caracas has made quite a bit of progress on Mats Lindemann.
By the way, not to cut you off, but Andrade and Barrier about to go at it for P5. Andrade has closed the gap up there to 4/10. He was a second, or 1/10 I should say, and he had a look going down into that Abbey town, the village, arena area, however you want to call it. He's having another look now. Farm, yeah.
He's a little bit far back. He's keeping it nice and tight, trying to keep the distance there. Taking a little bit wider line, trying to get a little bit more out of it than the Aston. So keeping it looks, he did get a better drive out there. He's closed the gap up quite a lot. Grantus Caracas is currently setting the fastest lap of the race so far, a 2-minute flat, as he stakes it up the inside of Cops, and contact.
Oh, contact! Oh, the rough!
Massive contact. So the BMW losing out on that one. That will be looked at by the stewards, and that is damage to both cars, as that was quite a possibly what started out as a small little tap ended up with a fairly big whack to both cars. So still able to continue both cars. It doesn't look to be a severe amount of damage to the BMW. Not sure about the Aston Martin, but we shall see in due course.
I'm wondering what the argument would be for a barrier in his defense. I said you absolutely do not stick a wheel up in the Honda season. But nonetheless, it is yeah, definitely something the stewards are going to have to look at. A lot of time lost. That gap between Poppin and Andrade was like 14 seconds, now 2.6. So a lot of time lost. Andrade came out worse for wear. He's 10 seconds back of that Aston Martin. As yeah, it's a tight battle that unfortunately cannot be completed cleanly, as Caracas is up in P4 with the fastest lap, like you said. So we'll see if he can continue to try and reel in Lynham Anderson, who is 4 seconds off of Wright, who, by the way, Chinson, has almost shaved a full second off of the lead of our leader, George Boothby.
Yeah, Conor Wright seems to have found the groove, especially with the now optimum track. So that's definitely got back up to what the drivers are wanting very quickly, and they'll definitely want to make as much ground as possible before the second bout of rain joins us in roughly around 30 minutes. So we'll see. Possibly looking at a tyre swap. So to the wet compound, to the wet tyre set for the end of the first stint. So we're looking at around, the stints are usually an hour. You can usually double stint a set of tyres depending on how mean you are to them. But yeah, you definitely need to fill up with fuel. And yeah, we'll just see how we get on. I do believe we are now into the 159s.
Yeah, we had a back marker go off, by the way. The Mercedes of the 176, Solenstev, looks like he went off. He's going to have to get out of the way of Andrade here, and he does. But yeah, just something to keep an eye on.
We are well into the 159s. Currently is 159.350 for Mats Lynham Anderson in that Aston. So still definitely got some pace. The top, I'd say 7 or 8 are running 2-minute flats or faster. I think there's about 4 cars that are currently running 159s. So we'll see how fast they can go before that rain hits us, and it does look like it's going to hit us fairly hard in about 30 minutes time. So definitely the time to get your focus in, get your foot down, and try and get as much ground as you can. As there is a car in the pits, number 1. Who is that? Patrick Liu from. Possibly doing a fuel stop or repair. They are currently in the pit. So a lot of change around in the top half of the grid. As I say, that Pierre Stockton is having a go at Hack in the PCDC Aston. Thinks a little bit better of it going into Magus and Beckett's, and just backs off a little bit, as I do believe they are catching the group in front as well. Definitely,
yeah,
Hack is still
Andrade has the damage. So
I think that's the PCDC Ferrari in there as well. Again, I do apologise about the deliveries. I did try to get them working for the start of today's race.
Stenhauser, by the way, he's going on the outside of Jarzabowski, or Jarzabowski, I should say, and Stenhauser in that Revolution Sim Racing BMW is going to get the move done. So top 10 for
Ferrari's
Stenhauser.
still sticking with it. The Ferrari's still sticking with it. So, and I do believe that's a Van Wall Sim Sport car behind. So that is.
There's a red line, Zach, for the Theobald in the BMW, the 180. He's right on the tail.
Ah, okay. It's the black and yellow that's throwing it off. So yeah, the 501 Ferrari and the 24 BMW? 23 BMW.
23 BMW.
I don't know where I'm reading on this today.
So I looked at the sheet that we have, and I'm like, he's not the number 22. So I had to correct the sheet there, but it's
Hello,
all good.
Bratko. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying the race so far. We do normally have a couple of friends of team members and drivers, normally in the chat chanting for, of course, their favourite driver and team. So we'll see how many of those come through. We've already had Matt Cooley for the number 77 of Papin, so we'll see how many more come through.
So Stockton had another look on the outside, by the way, of Hack, and couldn't get the move done. So still behind, but this Aston Martin wants to get by, or I'm sorry, the McLaren wants to get by this Aston Martin, as Hack's under a lot of Milan Hack in the PCDC Motorsports number 48 under a lot of pressure right now.
I do apologise for wasn't there a false start for my Boothby? Not 100% sure there, DJ. Greeny was already P1. It as far as the game ACC deemed it, it was all fine. As a blue and yellow BMW just gets in the way of these two battling it out. Running wide, keeping out of the way very nicely there. Nearly colliding with the McLaren. Probably could have lifted off a little bit more. But yeah, we'll have to see what the... that is possibly a matter that will get referred to the stewards to see what... to see if they deem otherwise. Yeah, it possibly did look us a little bit strange. Possibly just the perspective that was there, just from the helicam that we're running now. But we'll have to see if anything does come of that. Number 16 for the win. Where do we have number 16? Number 16 is Eric Miosh, currently running in 44th in a McLaren. I do believe that's one of the cars that has had a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think he's been caught up in an incident.
Cleanest, so it may have had a couple of incidents. Joe McCauley setting the fastest lap of the race so far, 1:59.1. Again, the driver's just getting in as many fast laps as they can before we go sailing again around Silverstone. I'm going to switch to Melamad and Theobald, Max Melamad and Theobald, and Stephen Theobald, as they are both running a BMW actually, and they are getting fairly close to each other, running down to Stowe. So much tighter line there from Max, but possibly losing out a little bit, having to let off the throttle a little bit to avoid a collision. But yeah, definitely one of the major braking zones is coming into Vale, because if you get the inside line for Vale, you are at an advantage. Yeah, so again, in terms of the start, we'll see if the stewards have any other opinions on that in due course. They may do, they may not. It does depend, but we shall see. But I hope you are all enjoying the race from wherever you are viewing it from. There is nothing as of yet from race control. It does normally take them a bit, especially at the start of an endurance race, just to have a look for everything and then normally put everything through in the first few laps in one go. So let's move back towards the front. So Connor Wright has made absolutely monumental progress towards our current race leader George Boothby in the 869. Now just over half of a second between the two. So it does look like that BMW is very, very happy at the moment. As they come across the next time in line, we'll see how close they are. I wouldn't imagine it would be too far away as we come through Abbey and up through Farm Village and then into the loop. The only reason I do know these corner names is because I visited the Silverstone Grand Prix a year or so ago.
Well, I mean, it's such an iconic track too, right?
Pitwall
Like
is
a lot of
apparently
people do know
not
these corner names.
functioning. I did try to reset the pit wall. I'm hoping it is working now. Let me just check.
I think it's working for me. Yeah, it's definitely working for me, I think.
Okay.
I got Boothby first, Wright second, Lynham Anderson third.
Yeah,
The lapse time looks good.
Yeah, there may have been. I might have had a couple of issues with it connecting. But yeah, it is something that I was. Again, I do apologise.
The truck wall's working for me. I know there's been comments in the Discord, but it's working. It's up and running for me.
Oh, okay. We have someone in chat as well called Serb Motorsport. Serb Motorsport. Let's have a look.
So, by the way, right at the front.
Yeah,
he's pulled in within 3/10.
Yeah, he's up now down to 3/10. Yeah, he's made monumental progress towards Boothby. So them two will definitely keep each other in check. Where is? I can't seem to find.
You gotta hope.
87.
If you're the Aston Martin, by the way, number 2, the number 12 in third place, that they continue to try and keep each other in check. They fight a bit, try to let this Aston Martin back into it. 5.6 off the pace, not a ton of time, but if Wright and Booth start to really go at each other here for a few laps, maybe that number 12 can come into play a little bit.
I mean, let's have a look at the the times for these. So yeah, a little bit of a shout out for the guys currently running in P37, Serb Motorsport. The last laps from two drivers. So George Boothby did a 1:59.895. The last lap for Conor Wright was 1:59.832. So they're pretty much on identical pace. So and I believe Matt Lynham Anderson last lap was a 1:59.9. So yeah, they are within. They're not really gaining, but they're not really losing anything either. Especially for the two leaders out in front, it will definitely be trying to find that that opportune moment to try and get an advantage over the other. But yeah, I don't expect these two to give each other an inch of space to even take advantage of anything. You can just see a couple of variations in the different lines they take, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. We have something from Race Control that is for the Tier 2 race taking place. So the stewards are currently very, very, very busy at the moment. So we can expect to see some reports possibly coming through fairly soon, but also see possibly some penalties as well, as there was a fair amount of contact in the first few opening laps, and we're nearly an hour in already. Can you believe it? Just over 40 minutes gone, and in just about 10 minutes we have the traditional and classic British weather returning to the track. So we shall see exactly how this plays out. as
I just want a little bit of a fair play because maybe in the chat, I don't know if you know this or not, but in the off camera before the race started, I mentioned the mug of tea, and I don't say you didn't really give me a little bit of stick, but I would say it was a eyebrow raising comment. So I haven't made any comments about British weather, but
so
the weather actually just changed over, and if you look, it went from light rain in 10 minutes to heavy rain, and in 30 minutes it's going to absolutely pour.
It's pouring buckets. On the update, so we have some news from Race Control. So we have an incident involving cars 122 and 781. No further action. The incident is unfortunate, and both cars reacted accordingly to avoid more damage, which is fair enough. Between number 8 and the 555, 10-second time penalty for, I'm going to assume, the 555.
Yes.
By braking too late, license point penalty modified because of lap 1 incident.
So the 555 is Melamed. He's in P13 right now. So that's a 10-second time penalty for Max Melamed in the Butler Powell Motorsports BMW number 55 or 555, I should say. 10-second time penalty for him for his incident with Yus Perek in the Flying Estonians McLaren number 8. And then also there was an inquiry involving cars 51, 115, 22, and 55, and no further action was deemed necessary. 51 lost control under tricky conditions. This was the only car who suffered real consequences from the collision with the incident with the 4 cars. So the only penalty really being applied is that 10-second time penalty to car number 555.
Yeah, so we'll just wait for that to come through from the stewards applied onto the car itself. Let's see how we're doing.
We'll get confirmation it's actually car 555 in a moment. But yeah, a lot of action going on here early on. As Wright, by the way, up at the front, 2/10 now between him and the leader George Boothby. So see if how much Wright wants to stay behind, because we mentioned, by the way, that Lionel Anderson couldn't come into play. He was 5.6 off the second place car there, Chinson. He's now 4.6, so he's shaved a full second. So Wright is looks like he might be being held up here a little bit by George Boothby, and we'll see if that Aston Martin can continue to come back into the fold here. The number 12 of Matt Linus Anderson in the PCDC Motorsports Aston Martin number 12. But the other one is Barrier is again close to Valentin Barrier in the Giga Chad Racing, Tim, is very close to George Caracas. Or sorry, not George, Grantis Caracas, my bad, in the McLaren number 720. So we'll see if Barrier is going to go for the move around Caracas for P4 as well. So top 10 battles heating up here towards the top of the leaderboard, certainly, as we also have to want to keep an eye on Stockton, who still hasn't gotten around the number 48 Aston Martin of Hawk, the other PCDC car, running in the top 10.
Yeah, just checking through the car numbers. We don't have a number 5 running, so it does seem that it will be the 555. Oh no, it's not the number 5. It's the number 8.
Oh, that's Perek in 14th position.
Yeah, so it's the...
I said Perek, it's Perek. You used Perek, sorry. Yeah, the Flying Estonians, McLaren number 8.
We've just had a update from the stewards that it is for the number 8, as opposed to the 555. barrier's got Grantus just running on board with Valentin as he makes the dive up into Vale. Keeps it nice. It looks like he's got the position. That is Valentin Barrier up into position number 4. So let's have a look at Grantus, the car behind, see if we can keep with the Aston Martin.
Yeah, nice move from Barrier to get around Grantus Caracas. So really solid move, and Barrier will be very pleased with that now. And he continue to try and cut the gap down the line of Anderson, who is still trying to catch the leading two, George Boothby and Connor Wright. See if he can do just that. But
Connor Wright's dropped back a bit, hasn't he?
a little bit. I mean, it was 2/10. You're talking about 4/10, so you know you don't know, but you know it's very marginal. I think 2/10 on the racing track, because it's. I know that sounds weird to say in racing, but like you could go. If you go for a move in a corner and you can't commit to it, you back off, you're going to lose like 2/10. So I didn't see what happened to cause him to lose 2/10. Maybe that was a case where he tried to maybe think about going for a move and then had to back out of it. But still, that's one to keep an eye on. The other one, Stockton and Hack for P8 as well. Still, those two very close to each other. There's also a little bit of I think that's down in P18th. You've got Marcel Chico in the Drohamont Racing, and the Nicholas Alvarado in the Ram Racing, the Mercedes, as well as Robin Moe. So in that nice N7 Racing, the Mass Effect car that you love so much. So 3 cars real tight to each other there, 18th through 20th as well to keep an eye on.
And there's the confirmation on the tandem board of that 10-second penalty, 10-second time penalty for the number 8 as well.
Oh, right, just dove up on the inside of George Boothby. He went for a move at the loop, and the two made contact. So
I think
George
was just flashing George as well. Possibly
a
little bit unhappy with that.
But look what's here. Look what's arrived here, Chinson. The rain is here.
Look at where the weather in 30 minutes. It's dry again. This is not gonna. This is gonna be an interesting time.
Chat can make all the jokes and stereotypes they want about my driver pronunciations. I'll take it all day long as an American, but as a Brit, I have to, with you being British, I have to say this totally fits the stereotype about your weather that we have over here. It is absolute rubbish if this is the case. I have to say, got to be absolute awful to drive in, though, Chinson, to be being serious for a second, because constantly going back and forth between, mind you, heavy rain that's expected as well, and then back to overcast and even partially sunny conditions. It's very difficult to handle a track that's constantly evolving.
Yeah, but it also kind of is having a look up. He's having a look up the inside again. Is he having a look? It also completely screws with your strategy as well, because like, do you change to dry tire? Do you change to wet tires? Do you keep on the dries? It's like, what do you do? Because it's completely screwing it up. Because I'm getting the feeling that at some point soon we'll get the first round of pit stops. I believe the stint timer is a maximum time of 65 minutes. So we are coming up to the last 10 minutes of the initial stints of this race. As in just under a full lap, the track's gone from optimum to greasy, so it will probably get damp very quickly. Track temperature has dropped a fair bit as well. Yeah,
it's really plummeted. That's like 3 degrees as well that it's gone down. It was 30, you remember. So
not only have we got rain to contend with, but warm tyres as well. So not ideal conditions for the drivers right now.
No, worn tires in cold and on a track that's getting colder. So it's just not all there. It's not there for them at all whatsoever on these dry tires. But you know, hasn't quite rained hard enough yet to maybe warrant the switch, especially like you said with the end of the stint coming up. Just figure, okay, maybe if I can just nurse these for 5 more minutes and just close the stint out at the top of the hour, you can get, you know, a clean set of tires on with the driver change. I'm sure that's what these teams are going for. A
little bit of an update further down the field. The 180, so Stephen Theobald has got past the 501 of Jazabowski, the 501 Ferrari. They were looking fairly close, and it does look like the BMW has made the move and gone away with it. But yeah, the rain is looking to get worse. A couple of drivers in the pits, so possibly pitting a bit early, possibly get some new tyres for the upcoming weather.
Well, the track just changed to damp, by the way, so I think they're coming in for the driver change and the tire change as well. By the way, the number 147 Jordan Watson, the WB Racing number 147 Ferrari, he's got a drive-through penalty here as well. So I don't know if this is one that he's going to have to serve first before the driver change. I don't know how that necessarily works.
Ideally, you'd want the drive-through served first, just because then the new driver can just get in and just get on with it without having to deal with doing anything extra at the start of the stint, which could happen. A lot of drivers coming in for the pit stop, so possibly coming in a bit early just due to probably the weather, to be honest. Just get a fresh set of tyres on for the damp conditions. Probably pump them up a little bit as the track's not dropped in the last few minutes, but with the rain intensifying, I would expect it to.
The other thing to note as well is that Joe McCauley, the PCDC Motorsports Ferrari number 213, still holding the fastest lap, still purple, despite being down in P43. It's a lot of driver changes going on, and we'll see who wins the pit stop battle, if you will. As the other thing that they got to worry about here, Chinson, is that you go in for the driver stint early, right, because of the weather, right? Fine, fair. Everybody understands that decision. There's nothing wrong with that decision. You know what I mean? But with the track drying in just under 30 minutes time, depending on what the weather's going to be like, these wet tires might not be ideal. They're ideal now, right? I don't think there's an argument where you can stay on dries now, but my point being, like, we might have to have another tire change if you get to a point where the track dries up with the overcast conditions, and then even if we get the sun again, those wet tires are absolutely going to wind up getting cooked.
Yeah, we do have our top. Well, we've got our top 12 now in the pits, as has Matlin and Anderson jumped the BMW in the pits? I believe he might have done.
I believe he has as well.
He has. That is very well done from the PCDC folks. So yeah, George Boothby definitely winning overall from that, because now he's got these two fighting. The track is now wet, so I would expect the wet tyres to be on every single car. So we will be looking at another pit stop probably in about 40 minutes time, roughly. Give the track enough time to dry off.
Yeah. So it's Yaroslav Hanzik in for KW Clown Fiesta Esports. The Ferrari number 869.
Yeah.
And effective P1, because Marcel Chico has not pitted yet.
He's yet to pit. They're currently coming down the Hamilton straight now.
Yep. So.
Very
much, you're right. The big winner. I mean, Lawrence is 5.2 off. I mean, they were neck and neck. There was about a half a second.
So
as Hansik's just going to make the pass on track, isn't he? And just like that, Chico back down to P2.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a bad call to stay out on the dry tyres, especially with the track as wet as it is. So definitely a disadvantage there, as I do believe that is a lapped car going faster, and I'm going to assume they are on the wet tyres. So yeah, I'm expecting that 169 McLaren to come into the pits now. So we have seen the first couple of driver changes. It does look like Connor Wright is staying in for a double stint in the BMW though. So we'll have a look at the drivers filter out once all the pit stops are done.
Two things to notice on the board as well, the leaderboard or drive, Christian Benz, Go Racing #2 in the BMW number 999, running 23rd. Oh, he's just spun, by the way, but he has a drive-through penalty. And then also, there is a marker on number 43, and my eyesight's so poor at my age, I'm having a hard time reading it. It says SG30.
That's a stop and go. That's a stop and go.
Oh, yeah.
30-second stop go for Daniel Ungars for Seb
Ungars, yeah.
Motorsport. Yeah,
He looks like he's serving that right now, actually.
Yeah. I'm surprised that a lot of drivers stayed out as long as they did. Considering the track conditions.
I agree. So the Ferrari number 869 still the leader. Yaroslav Hanzik now in. Nice opening stint from George, and now it's Hanzik in, and a couple of things to note, like you said, that Wright has gotten around. Connor Wright has gotten around the Aston Martin again. So Marcus Lawrence in the PDCD Motorsports car, back down to P3. Wright's gotten in second place, but he's 4.9 off the pace now. He's 5.3 back from our leaders, so that's one to watch. Barrier is behind Caracas again, so both of those drivers doing double stints. Chinson, Grantis Caracas in the Slava Ukraini by BGR McLaren number 720, back in P4. Barrier right on the tail though, and also you've got the Celtic Bromance car that did well to get up into P8, being followed pretty closely by Milan Hock in the PCDC, the second PCDC Motorsports car in P9.
Yeah, so them two still keeping close tabs on each other. Valentine Barrier still keeping the gap nice though to the PCDC car. No, not to the PCDC car. Sorry, the 720 McLaren in front.
Two others to note real quick is Ilya Dudninston is down in 13th, and as Stefan Theobald doing a double stint himself, very close for that in that Red Line Zach Racing in P14, very close to that car in 13th. That lovely pink Ram Racing car that Stay Hughes is in, the Mercedes in 15th, followed very closely by Yus Perek in the Flying Estonians McLaren number 8. You remember Perek had the 10-second time penalty as well, so looks like he served that, but very close to the car in front for P15.
Yeah, definitely a battle of two very different types of car. The Mercedes with its very heavy front end, as the McLaren does seem to get a better drive out of Chapel. And is this going to be a drag race down to Stowe? I think the Mercedes has just kept it going into there. Yeah, a little bit heavier over the front axle, so a little bit better for the Mercedes. So I think that's sort of one of the only Mercedes running in today's race. We've got another one down in P26 as well.
Yeah, there's a handful, not very many though.
I do
there's trouble, by the way, on the run down to Luffield. Is that Matthias Ziakowski, Your Way Racing, Mercedes number 808. He got by. He moved aside for some lap traffic, but he was very slow and actually brought out a yellow flag for a second or two. So, by the way, we have a new fastest lap, and that's or is that the same car but different driver in the P41 there?
It is the 213 PCDC Ferrari, so it is the same car, just a different driver.
Yeah, but up 2 positions since the driver change. Remember that before that driver change, they were running in 43rd. So PCDC on the recovery drive up to P41. Still 8 hours to go. We'll see how far they can get that PCDC up into the top 10, maybe.
Yeah, they're definitely
or top 20 at least.
They're definitely making, definitely getting an advantage out of the weather and the pit stops. So we'll see how it plays out over the next hour. As in the next 10 minutes, the rain is supposed to get less, it's supposed to reduce, and then 30 minutes is supposed to not rain at all. So I do believe someone who was in chat before, one Mr. Sheckerman, is now currently behind the wheel. In the only Porsche running in series, I pray for them, as Porsche is not very fun to drive in the dry, let alone in the wet.
Listen, those Porsche drivers are a rare breed, okay? But still, I think there's a reason it's a rare breed, right? Nonetheless, nothing further coming through from race control. You know, the race is kind of, in terms of incidents, has quieted down a little bit. So a lot of cleaner racing going on. Wright has not been able to find the same pace, by the way, Chinson. Remember that Wright really got cut the gap down to like 2. You know, at one point it was 2 tenths, 4 tenths was really there, and now after the pit stops, is gone from that to, it was 4.6 seconds, I want to say. Now it's 6.1. Yeah. So Wright's not been able to keep the same pace with Hansik at the front, as
we also have a drive-through penalty applied by the in-game stewards for
we have 2
limits for the 95 Porsche for Sheckerman. I'm not going to say that was commentator's curse, but you know, where's the other one?
Why you don't gotta do us Porsche drivers like that? Come on now. The other one is down in P47. Is that Kononov? Who's doing a double stint, by the way.
That BMW's had another whack.
Which one?
The 744. It's had another whack from the damage previously.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the hood is actually taking quite a bit of damage. So
that's had a fair whack then.
Yeah, look at the side of it too, towards the wheel. Yeah, that has had a really good good thump. That's got to say, maybe diving into the pits here actually to serve the drive-through. But yeah, there's a lot of damage on that heart attack.
Well.
Yeah. So Kononov's day going from bad to worse, unfortunately, as we continue to watch over just the different battles that we've got. I would say there's a few close ones. There's actually, it looks like a really close one for P34 way down the field. But Saraville and is that Prusik just getting by, actually. Saraville, ooh, they make a little bit of contact there as well. Saraville wants to have another go back at Prusik down here on the run up to Cops.
Oh, that's very wobbly on the entry there.
Yeah, that's going to give the position he gained right back.
Yeah. Silverstone can be a challenge as it that. Yeah, I've just that Mercedes was just sliding through there. That is not a happy car right now. That is. Oh dear, hold your brake. Oh, massive contact right in front of the race leader as well.
Well, that is definitely going to the stewards. That's the 96. Who was the other car involved?
It was a Ferrari, I believe.
Trying to see who was it.
Was it the 147? Yeah, the 147 of Adam Bowers. Just came through Chapel and literally nothing to do on that one. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. That's that is a shame.
It was a really heavy wreck. I mean, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, as they say, but the amount of damage that those cars would have sustained, you could almost think it might be race over for some of them. So, but we'll see if we'll see what comes of it from the race control. Certainly, they're immediately going to be on that, taking a look at it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things they always say is if you spin, hold your brakes. But in the wet, you can hold your brakes all you want. You're going for a slide anyway. Just the weather is just absolutely horrible when it comes to spinning out, because you can do all you can to avoid a collision, and the weather will just be like, no, I'm gonna give this to you. As Highlander 213 is catching the car in front. Let's see. And I do believe they are ahead of the AMG. Possibly gone off track as well, because that is a fair chunk of time they've taken out of it.
Which car? I'm sorry.
The 213 PCDC and the 808.
Yeah.
It was under a tenth of a second between the two cars, so possibly contact, but possibly just running a little bit wide there. But they've dropped a couple of seconds. Prusak is coming into the pits for an unknown reason. Oh, Prusak is the one that I believe is the Mercedes that spun.
Yeah.
At Chapel, so
yes.
Just repairing that damage. Just either runs a little bit wide through pops.
Yeah, but look at 213 up to P40 now, so the recovery drive continues.
Yeah,
so.
slowly. They are slowly getting there, but not the not the ideal weather for a recovery drive. But you can kind of see the racing line, because the rest of the track looks kind of silvery.
Yeah.
Very light grey, but even though it does look like there is a racing line there, it is still very, very wet. And
absolutely.
You definitely want to avoid the curbs at all costs at this point.
Update on one of those battles that pointed out Theobald, who again is on the double stint, I believe. Stefan Theobald, the Red Line Zach Racing BMW number 180, got around Dudneston. So P12 for that BMW, the 180, gets the move done. As we continue to watch. Oh, there's something that's popped up on the leaderboard here. It looks like car in the P30, or is that P30? Yes, a Manuel Dukes, the Project Reminisce number 7 Bentley, a drive-through penalty.
That'll be track limits, I'd imagine.
You got to, right? It's
especially in the
you're
wet,
probably right
like,
there. Oh yeah. You see a lot of cars running wide at like cops as well, trying to deal with the entry. We've seen it already, so no surprise, absolutely no surprise there. And he's come in to serve that penalty. So
yeah, trying to keep in track limits in cops in the dry is a challenge, especially when you're pushing, let alone
let alone the wet, right? So
let alone when you're skirting the car around.
One of the teams properly named Skirt at the end for this absolutely wet race.
You had to.
Yeah, I had to.
Oh, right, it is. You just had to, didn't you?
Well, it's either that or you're going to get 90s cultural references, so one or the other.
Bring on the 90s, mate. Bring on the 90s. Bring on that pop culture.
Somebody I commentate Counter-Strike with actually said that to me. He goes, you make these references, he goes, and I'm sorry I'm not up to date on my 1990s WWE, and I'm like, well, you're just going to have to get up to date on it. But another interesting battle, if you will, 19th through 21st, Scheckerman in the 95 Porsche has got is that Sinalter? Martin
Yeah, Sinalter.
Sinalter. The Beeswax Warburtons, number 666, and also, oh, he's had a spin actually. He's just spun. Yeah.
Around
and,
Lotfield. So he's tried to bite the throttle a little bit too hard there, and the car's bit him back very harshly, and had a bit of damage to the BMW as well because of that, unfortunately.
Which one? The 370?
Yeah. There's the
Zvonimir Krenisic?
Yeah. So as the McLaren spun, the BMW was coming round, so again, there's not really much could have done.
No. So, and you know what that's done? It's brought the 213 Ferrari up to P39. So I'm just gonna watch that all day. That recovery drive from the Ferrari down there, the PCDC Motorsports down there in P39. But at the front, I gotta say, it's been kind of very quiet, very standard race for KW Clown Fiesta Esports. Jaroslav Hansik now in the driver's seat. The Ferrari number 869 just has been pretty much from the first lap getting into the lead and then not looking back.
Yeah, it's very controlled very controlled by not just Jadier and I will call him Jadier because that's what their community know him as at this point. Also Connor Wright as well. Both of them being very controlled and very consistent as well is the word I was looking for. I mean, even though they have Connor Wright has got a little bit of time back to Jadier though. It was about 6 seconds. He's took just over a second off. So again, just finding the it's a completely different groove when the track changes conditions. It's to be honest, it's a lot better to go from the wet to the dry. You can then start to push a little bit more. If it goes from the dry to the wet, it's just like you've got to rethink where you brake, where you throttle it. It's just
almost every lap too as well, right?
Oh,
like it's just. By the way, if you want to, obviously if you put the sound on, it'll come through the stream. But if you have a look at ACC Endurance T1 chat in the Discord, there's an interesting little clip there for you from the start of our race. So it's just.
Oh dear.
I've never seen anything like that ever before in my life. I gotta be honest with you, so maybe that's something to bring up a little bit later. But it's just one of the oddest things I've ever seen. Literally out here playing Star Fox 64 with his vehicle. But nonetheless, backwood track. I'm also watching, this Elliott Watson, the Martin number 77. We did a good job. Remember the Celtic Berman's car. The 77 started a little bit further back in the field, I believe. P26. That's the skirt that we actually mentioned. Is now up in P8, and he's holding on to it pretty well under a lot of pressure from Milan Haak, the PCDC. Although the board says it's Dijkstra that's in the car, but I can't tell if it's Haak or Dijkstra. It might be a glitch on my.
Dijkstra's in the car currently.
Okay, so it's a glitch on my ACC, but this PCDC in P9 has put a lot of pressure. It stayed within a second of Watts, but Watts has not showed an inch towards this Aston Martin. So this number 77 for the Celtic Berman's car doing a very good job so far of getting into a top 10 position and managing to hold on to every single one that they've gained.
Yeah, definitely. It is nice to see two Astons going at it because they're identical cars, so it will literally be down to the setup and the driver. And that 77 was very sketchy through there, so PCDC's definitely coming for that P8 now. But again, the 77 and the 48 keeping close tabs on each other, so definitely a battle to watch over the next 7 hours and 40 minutes.
Hard to believe we're already over an hour into this race, an hour 15 into this race. Still plenty of time left. By the way, the BMW 999 of Christian Benz, Code Racing number 2, running down in P37. He ran a bit wide down into, I believe that is Vale, and also God, what's the corner at the Vale Club, and it's allowed that 213 Ferrari up at a P36. So still improving. Just trying to write a narrative for you guys that, you know, no matter what happens in your endurance racing, when you go endurance racing, you never give up, because you never know how well or what's going to happen in a race. And so we've got a slew of inquiries, Chinson, that just hit the race control, by the way.
Hit me with them.
Okay, so incident involving cars 87 and 30, racing incident, no further action. And inquiry 8 minutes later involving the 101 and the 213. Car 213 has been deemed to have lost control in tricky conditions, no further actions. There's an inquiry involving the cars 176, 500, 147, 26, and 30. And 20-second time penalty for car number 147 for not slowing down for people struggling for grip in front and causing a collision as well. Another second penalty between an incident 4 minutes later involving cars 72, 58, 72 and the 58. A 15-second time penalty for car number 72 for causing a collision. So that's barrier as well. That just came across in game, by the way. The 122, 28, and 55 at the same time. No further action needed. Car number 28 tried to opportunistic move, was the only one to suffer consequences from it. And then 3 minutes later, 2 more incidents, by the way, for you. 3 minutes later, the incident involving car number 7 and the 96. 5-second time penalty for car number 96 for causing a collision. And then the final one was inquiry of the 2 cars involving the 666 and the 101. And it's a 10-second time penalty for car number 666 for causing a collision. So a lot of time penalties being handed out. Prusik, by the way, who's absolutely, I believe, was running at one point, what, P19 or 20, I wanted to say, down at 47th now, slapped with a 5-second time penalty. And Bowers is the other car with a 20-second time penalty. This is Ferrari number 147 in 40th. And of course, you've got Sinolter. That beeswax Warburton that we saw, the McLaren, slapped with a 10-second time penalty for his spin and swiping the BMW.
Yeah, 20 seconds. I haven't seen the stewards apply a 20-second time penalty.
Was that the massive spin that happened like in the straight?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. Oh, it might have been. Coming out of Chapel, you mean?
Yeah.
Possibly.
But the other one that's taken a big hit is Valentin Barrier, the 72, running P5. That's a 15-second time penalty. That's the exact gap back to the BMW number 58 right now. So I believe this is the second penalty as well for that Aston Martin number 72 so far in this race.
Yeah. A couple of license points going out on those as well. So that's definitely something to avoid, is just getting those license points. If you accumulate too many, you can get in some serious trouble with the stewards, and can even lead to a race ban, I believe. Not 100% on the
in probably the most serious cases, right? Like
yeah. But yeah, even through all of last season, I don't think I saw a 20-second time penalty being slapped on a car. That's quite a gut punch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite a gut punch, like you said. By the way, P8 has finally changed positions. The Celtic bromance number 77 can't hold on, and Dijkstra's gotten past. So the number 48 Aston Martin getting into P8 using the lap traffic maybe as well, but nonetheless, that PCDC Motorsports car up into P8 now.
Yeah, the weather's changed yet again, so it has stopped raining, but the track is still very, very wet. Track's gone up again.
Yeah, but no rain forecasted now. So the question is, like, which drivers are on those wet tires and how quickly does this track dry, right? Because the track temperature, mind you, when it was raining, we were looking at you know, 27 degrees. It's now 29. So
Yeah.
and the track's already gone from wet to damp. So
yeah, it just changed. So it's
yeah,
got a bit of wind as well, so that'll help to dry the track. So it's probably around in the next 10 minutes. I'd say it'll go from damp to greasy and from greasy to like fast.
yeah.
Before we see any that PCDC Aston's just took off, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Also watching Forza Italia.pl e-racing program number 500, one of the cars named in those incidents, but obviously not sanctioned. Running P23. Got around Sinolter, so got it on track, not waiting for the time penalty. As we'll see, I'm curious to see what kind of tires these cars have on and how. Oh, I just seen two cars run very wide. I don't know what I lost where they were, but nonetheless, speaking of, I'm gonna go back to it. Forgive me, forgive me, Chinson, but the Mathieu Hyla in the PCDC Motorsports running P33 now, so the 213 Ferrari continuing to charge up this field.
I've got a bit of a glitch on. I've got a bit of a glitch on the top where it hasn't updated fully. I was like, I've got 233s, 234s at the minute. I was just like, where am I looking? Yeah,
I gotcha.
PCDC always do tend to. They always give us a nice show. They did last season, and it definitely looks like they're continuing that trend this season. 3 cars in the top in Tier 1, so a lot of action. Although the field hasn't spread out as much as I expected it to. They're kind of like in 2 main groups, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to spread out a little bit, but there's still a big cluster kind of going around Meggett's and Beckett's right now, and then also there's a huge one down at the Love Field and towards the start-finish line right now. So it's certainly more spread out than it was an hour ago, but yeah, you would expect it to not have so many clusters this way, and I guess that's what the weather will do to you, the constant change in it. But thankfully, it doesn't. It does look like we're going to get a little bit of stability. No rain expected for 30 minutes. All overcast, so at least a little stability coming our way.
Does look like the drivers are starting to push a little bit more again though, just as they do discover the grip once more, coming back into the coming back into the tyres. Yeah, quite a different field so far. So there have been some big winners and big losers out of this, but it's a little bit hard to tell at the moment just with the conditions, because I think everybody's struggling at the minute.
Absolutely, I'm trying to look at those big winners that you said or big losers that you said. Who's one of the worst of it? You know, on the receiving end of it, but I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the top 10, the top 10 has changed for a fair amount.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest winners out of that, I would probably say, is the number 72, currently running P5. They do have a 15-second time penalty, but it does look like they are getting a little bit. They are just getting on with it now, getting that gap to the 58 behind just a little bit bigger. Which the 58, probably one of the bigger losers of the first hour and a half, started on pole position and now in P6. So not the ideal start the Van Walsum Sport 58 was probably looking for.
No, not at all. So trying to look at some of the others that might be one of the bigger losers, but still been an interesting race so far. A lot of I'm shocked that we've had so many incidents, even like, you know, the race controls come through to even look at, because it's been kind of been a more. I mean, we've had the big 2 collisions in the last half hour, but the race seems to be settling in a little bit more now, right? So we'll see if that continues to kind of clean itself up. As of course, I mean, the weather's not handling itself at all. But by the way, there's a move here in the midfield. Nathaniel Shirley in the assault squad, McLaren number 6. Looking at this Audi, one of the very few Audis, if not the only Audi, that we have on the field for Armando Ortenzi in the Virtual Drivers Alliance, Audi number 155. So for P25, Shirley has been having a look at this inside and has not been able to get the move done just yet. But definitely, I love that that livery, that assault squad livery. It's absolutely fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, the 555 Butler Powell Motorsport is in the pit, so possibly a quick change onto the dries. That did not look like a long pit stop at all, so possibly a tyre change onto the dries to try and get a possibly even try and get an undercut between the guys ahead. So I mean, the track is down, but it does look like there is a dry line starting to form again as the other guys are still running wet tyres. So definitely kicking up the spray, so possibly that Butler Power Motorsport car may be taking advantage of that.
Speaking of close battles, Grantis Caracas in the McLaren number 720 in P4. really close to Marcus Lawrence, as he might have a go here coming down the straight.
Oh,
certainly you would expect it. Oh yeah,
they're having a go.
Make no doubt about it, right at the inside, or right around the outside, I should say. And I just don't think the grip is there. He's just not been able to make the move stick.
Is he having another go into He is.
He is.
Going around the outside into Vale. Very brave. Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't mind that, because if he can get alongside, you got the inside line, then for club, but he's still not able to get alongside enough. So at 720, getting very hungry for this podium position.
Yeah, he's still having a look. He's not definitely letting the driver of the Aston know that he's there. But yeah, at the minute, there's not much of a way to get past, especially through the Farm Village Loop complex. But oh, that Aston knows that they're defending the inside line. But I think, are they going to stick with it? Side by side through Brooklands.
Oh, got it into. Oh. And he's just got it. I think he's got it. I think he's got it here. Is that inside line. And yes, he has got it. He's made it stick finally. There it is. Grantis Caracas. 720 McLaren is in P3. Really nicely done to just not give up and just constantly, put the number 12 under pressure. So really,
well done,
really nice battle.
As well.
Well done to both for keeping it clean, right? We've seen so many drivers already knock sides into each other there, but yeah, nicely done.
Yeah, that McLaren looks very planted as well, so definitely enjoying the conditions as we'll start to see the sun start to poke through once more as they do come up to some lap traffic. So not really what Grantis would probably want to see ahead of him on track, but better that the Aston Martin is behind him as opposed to in front, just giving the lap traffic a little bit of a flash to ask them to kindly let him by.
One thing to note too, by the way, the sun is coming out. We're going to get partially sunny conditions now. So this and the track temperature is up to 30, so I expect it to dry quicker. Another note, by the way, Lucian, I'm going to probably say this wrong, but Prochnica in the Forza Italia.pl Racing 501 Ferrari, P10 right now. putting the pressure on that Celtic Burmans car. So, oh, there's a car around. The 666 is around. There's a collision.
Where? Where at?
Looks like it was between the 30 of Martin Kovacs and the 666 as well. It took place at Lovefield, right in front of the leaders. So and I believe I don't know if Sinalter has been involved in that, but already Sinalter already in trouble. Ooh. And I hope not involved. But yeah, the 666 was involved in that. That is Sinalter, who's got the 10-second time penalty. So yeah, McLaren involved. I didn't see what happened, Chinson, but the McLaren involved in another incident.
Yeah, a little bit of a bump from the 501 and the 77 as they both do now fight for P9. So the Ferrari giving a little bit of a bump to the Aston. Aston still keeping ahead coming down into Brooklands. Ferrari having a look down the inside, not getting the move done. Still keeping very tight though. But yeah, I didn't see that on the map was coming up as a yellow. I must have definitely missed that. So we'll see what the stewards think later on.
I just saw Shentar, the Discord user Shentar, by the way, who's also in our F1 written leagues. He just posted a view of that car doing a barrel roll. Absolutely fantastic. By the way, God bless Shentar. Hope you're well, mate. Good to see him racing in both the ACC Endurance and the F1 leagues that we got here at Apex Online Racing. So if you're not currently signed up for any leagues and you're thinking about it, we offer a lot here at Apex Online Racing. Definitely check us out, apexonline.racing. And you can sign up for Formula One, ACC Endurance, ACC Sprints. There's also been talk of iRacing, though not yet confirmed. But still, we got Project Cars 2 as well. So we got everything that you would want here at Apex Online. So definitely check us out and sign up for a league if you're interested in racing. Certainly, we've got anything that can meet your skill level and needs here.
Yeah, there have been rumours about the next F1 game actually, about what's included in it, and I don't know whether to believe them yet.
Hopefully netcode. I'm gonna be honest with you, mate.
They've fixed that. They have fixed a lot of that. Okay. They have fixed a lot of that.
You are right. You are right. But just having a light little banter, having a light little go. That's all.
There's a few things I think that the community would want the devs to fix a little bit more now. But yeah, rumours of actual VR in F1 2022 apparently. But I don't believe it because the community's been asking for VR for about 4 years.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. But a lot of cars in the pit lane now, by the way. We got quite a few cars coming in. Yes. Mostly it looks like back markers for now, but
yeah, it's gone from damp to greasy, so the track's definitely changing. How is that 555 faring? Because I'm pretty sure they changed to the dry tyres earlier than the rest. Currently 27th. They've done a driver change as well. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, down in P27, but we'll see how that comes after the what I do believe is going to be an earlier round of pit stops just because of the track conditions.
Right. So maybe it's one of these things where if you were on a double stint, you think about changing the driver right here, right now. But yeah. Well, I just watched the PDC DC number 213 go very wide at cops, really wide at cops. But yeah, a lot of cars coming in for driver or tire changes, I should say. So I'm seeing a few driver changes as well. So
we should see some of them penalties disappear as well.
Yeah, they're going to serve them as well, aren't they? So there's a stop and go, by the way, for the car. We've had our first disqualification, by the way.
Really?
Yes. I'm trying to get down on the scoreboard to it, but Ribeiro in P52 is showing a DSQ, and Prusik, by the way, is showing a 30-second stop and go penalty. in P50. So he just finished serving that. Mateusz Prusik, the SE Endurance Mercedes number 96, just finished serving a stop and go 30-second penalty. And yes, number 74 is been disqualified. So which car was that? That is the FACC Joins Victorious Secret number 74. Jean-Paul Ribeiro and Diego Zamora are out of this race with a disqualification.
Yeah, we'll have to. We'll definitely have to see what went on there and why the disqualification was applied, because that was not done by race control.
No.
From what I can see, so that's done by ACC.
Another thing too is ACC handed Marek Polic a stop and go 30-second time penalty. So STMP Endurance McLaren number 760 down in P25, stop and go 30-second time penalty has been awarded.
That's for, I believe that's for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah,
I think that's the
usually
only,
that's what that is.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen it assign a penalty stop go 30 for any other reason.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the stewards tend to do it. They just tend to hand you a big time penalty, I think.
Yeah. So quite a few penalties coming out here. I'm trying to get back to the front of the grid as well, because I think we've had a little bit.
57.
What'd you see?
The 57 just coming into Vale had a bit of a knock, I believe, with the 101, either the 101 BMW or the McLaren.
Well, yeah, the 96 is around as well.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
As race leader Jadier is also pitting now. 47 laps.
Well, we've had another 2 stop and go 30-second penalties been applied. And we also had a drive-through. I just seen a drive-through come across. So Dijkstra, like you said, PCDC car, stop go 30-second, and then the other one is Ilya Dudniston in the 920 BMW. He's got a 30-second stop. And Scheckerman in the 95 Porsche just picked one up as well.
Yeah, these are lobby for speeding in the pit lane. I didn't mention it. Always applies them
as there's
the exit. Look at this battle for P3. Oh, P2, sorry, between Grantis Caracas and Pashk, I think.
Hodgson, by the way, all the way down in P29's got a drive-through as well. So, but no, you're right. This battle for P2 really intense. We'll see if Caracas.
Yeah, the McLaren does have good straight line speed, so I'm not expecting the BMW to catch as quickly as they might want, as the number 6 McLaren gets well out of the way of the racers. Possibly lost out there as well to a BMW.
But look, Grantis Caracas is putting in a heck of a shift. It has to be said. I mean, he's got this car up into P2, this 720 McLaren. So from P5 to P2, really strong opening stint. It has to be said from this driver.
Yeah, let me have a look. 720. So there's 3 drivers. So they might be doing the first 3 hours with Grantis Caracas and then hand it off to his 2 teammates for the latter 2. Which is not unheard of. Connor Wright definitely not happy with that. Yeah, Connor Wright definitely not happy with something that the 720's done. Trying to ask them in the Discord chat.
Yeah, I saw that message as well. But we'll see what the stewards think, certainly.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. Still at the front, still enjoying just a nice Saturday drive is this.
Then the driver change as well.
This KEKW Clown Fiesta Eastspurts Ferrari number 869. The Maciej Malinowski is now in the car. The driver, you're right, the driver changed, but 10 seconds is the gap now between him and second place. So really strong showing so far from our race leader in this opening hour 45.
Track's gone to optimum. The weather is what we would class as a typical British summer. Gone from wet to sunny, from wet to sunny, and it is now extraordinarily hot, as is tradition with the British weather. If the sun's out, it doesn't try and be nice, as I think a BMW has just spun coming out of Luffield.
Oh yes,
what is it, the 370?
370, yeah.
Is the just behind the leader of the Ferrari. That gap is coming down a little bit now. Now under 10 seconds between Malinowski and Grantos Caracas. The 101 has also a drive-through, so Nowicki. So track limits, that will more than likely be.
By the way, our update on at least my favorite car, you can make all the memes that you want about it, but the PCDC Motorsports Ferrari number 213, Maciej Hyla is now in P27. So a heck of a recovery drive so far from this this team. Really getting going from one of the last places on the grid, or after opening lap incidents, to straight there in the mid-table, with still 7 hours plus to go.
Yeah, chasing down that 177, so they may be getting another position very soon. 3.39. So
yeah,
definitely in the mix as they come out of Luffield. So
and look what the penalties did. Look what the penalties did to the 666. By the way, he went from P20 down to P28. Remember, Seinolter had that. I believe that was the 10. I want to say it was the 10-second time penalty, but quite a bit of damage on that car as well.
Yeah, for the 666, it was a 10-second.
Yeah.
Definitely shook up. I think the penalties have shook the order up a little bit more than the weather has.
You say that, but then you have a driver like Barrio who's still running P5 after the 2 double penalties that car's had. But yeah, you're absolutely right. All things considered, is that definitely the penalties have shaken up the order quite a bit. So we'll see if it continues to do so. Still tons of time left in this race.
Yeah, I'm just currently riding with the 213 Ferrari. And the 177, as they come down to fail, is he going to look up the inside? He is. He's going for the move on the inside, and that's job done. Very easily done as well. So the 213 making up yet another place in the race so far. Still holding the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:58.5. Although with the track at optimum and some sunny weather for at least the next 30 minutes, at least. I do expect that to bounce around once again as the drivers do get into the rhythm.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it might, right? So I just think the PCDC. Remember, this was a car that qualified into P4. So this is one of the quicker cars, I think, on the grid. So you're right. It is probably going to bounce around a bit, but I also think we are going to have. There's a good bit of pace. By the way, there has been a update on an incident involving cars number 96 and 87. No further action has been taken between those 2 cars. So I'm trying to remember what incident it was. There is a yellow flag. I think it's just 370 getting out of the way of lap traffic. Fair enough. Overall, really eventful race, it has to be said, Chinson.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even 2 hours in. We're not even 2 hours
I know.
in. We've had collisions, we've had overtakes, penalties. 3 changes in weather from the start, from the formation lap.
Yeah, exactly. it's one of those ones. Does it? If the weather changes on the formation lap, doesn't count. Maybe 2.5 changes. No, I'm not going down that route again. Don't worry.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely there's definitely been a couple of spanners thrown in the works for not just us trying to figure out like where people should be, but also the drivers and strategy.
Yeah. Shout out to our Super Pole watchers, by the way, for earlier who would get that reference. But
yeah, I mean, Super Pole hasn't. I think the only thing Super Pole has done is basically set like the top 4. I think everything else has just been okay. That's like, you know, here's your top 4. Here's some weather. Have fun.
Yeah, that's essentially it, man. That's essentially how this race has gone. Interestingly to note, by the way, is that Caracas is really putting in a lot of pace. He has shed 2 seconds off of the lead from Malinowski. You remember when Caracas got the move done on that 57 BMW, the gap was about 10.6 seconds, and now, okay. I just watched the Celtic Bromance number 77 have to really run off on the run down to the Village Loop section. So maybe he's struggling for some grip, that car. But yeah, back to my point, Grantis Caracas is just really taking some time off of this leader in Malinowski, shedding about 2.5 seconds, I want to say, a little bit over that.
I mean, the McLaren looks as stable as the Ferrari out front, but it does seem to be the McLaren has always had some good top end speed. McLaren suffers in mid-speed corners just because of the way the aero works. You can't change a splitter, the front splitter, which sucks. But you kind of got to slow the car down and let the nose drop, just so you can get the turning you need. But yeah, mid-speed it's not the greatest, but yeah, it does make up for it in the slow speed, and definitely on straights, because it's quite a slippy car, we shall say. But yeah, now just under 8 seconds between the top 2. Mind you, actually not doing too bad. P3 1.6 seconds down from Grantis, so we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him.
The disqualification, by the way, that we've seen, the clip of it's been posted in the Discord. It looks like Diego Zamora was in the car and just completely lost control of it entering the pit lane, and wound up not able to control the speed and just slid sideways through the pit lane, and the game got him for it. So very unfortunate, but it looks like that's what happened to our disqualified team.
No. Oh, reversed in the pits as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big. Yeah, that's sad to see when like it's just one small thing that just catches you out. We have a call in chat for go number 16. Let's see where they are. Bradley Burgett, DSRT Cinex Pro, currently running in P46. I think they've had a little bit of a muddled start, a couple of collisions, possibly a couple of spins as well, but still running, still going. So there is always chance and always opportunity, especially with still 7 hours to go.
Absolutely. So, and look at the weather. It's gone from partially cloudy to mostly sunny now. So expect the track temperature to go up even further, and really optimal conditions for racing now. Finally, that the rain is just feels odd to say that, quite frankly, after the weather that we've seen. But nonetheless, after the rain is gone.
Sunny, England, 0 out of 10. Least realistic game. This is British weather.
Well, look, All I know is that it's 3:01 p.m. So Mr. Blue, he gets it right, but soon will come Mr. Knight.
Oh, I've just put that together. ELO, Mr. Blue Sky. What a tune.
It's a lovely song. Look, it's getting spring now, so I don't know about you, but the first Friday I get, and it's spring and it's golfing weather. It's blasting on the car speakers.
I would say it's not realistic British weather. Like the Silverstone Grand Prix last year, I pretty much got burnt every single day.
It was a peach weather. There was a car around, by the way. Patrick Liu, the McLaren Shadow Project #1, is around. Oh, that's a dangerous little position that he was in. Hughes really got caught up behind him.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. So he's around and down into P48 now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's been a couple of drivers who have had to either take avoiding action or just simply just run wide at Abbey, because Abbey you can cut fairly nicely, but if you don't cut it right, which sounds a little bit weird to say, it will just bite you. It will bite you hard, and it'll either throw you off into the grass or it will spin your car around. And when I say cut it right, is you can cut it on the left hand side of the curbs that are in the mid corner. You can cut it on the right hand side of the curbs, which you can cut very, very nicely in game with a fair amount of time. If you cut it wrong and you hit the curbs, your car will bounce, especially a McLaren, just with how low the car rides. It probably rides one of the lowest in the field. So if you hit a curb wrong with a McLaren, you're going for a ride instead. It'll feel a little bit more like a rally car than a road racer.
Right.
Gap's coming down a little bit with Grantis Crackers, so lap traffic probably won't have helped that, but he's in a bit of clean air, so we might see that drop. That 213 still keeping the fastest lap of the race though.
Yeah, and now up to P23 as well. Another car to note is Lucian Prochinka, the Forza Italia PLE racing car, Ferrari number 501, up to P7. So really nicely done from the 501. Had some early issues. Qualified 9th, had some early issues that dropped him down into like I think 13 or 14. Now has fought the way back up to P7. So big gap up to York in P6. The 58 is well far ahead. But nonetheless, it's a nice little mini recovery drive as Matt York in the Van Mol SimSport is in P6. That's the 58. Where did we have the 58 on qualifying?
Pole.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
58
was on pole. Yeah. It's a 57 that's improved the most. That's up 5 positions from qualifying. That's the
other Van Wall.
Yeah, now I'm glitching because the car says right over top of it, and then I have Pashik in the leaderboard, and then I have Connor Wright on the bottom right. So I have no idea who's actually in the car.
It is currently Daniel Pashik currently in the car.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice, quite nice weather for England. It was actually like this on, I think, first day for the British Grand Prix weekend. A little bit cloudy, so you could find some cover, but it was either under a tree or in the stands where you find the most shade. And even then, so there was loads of ice cream vans everywhere, like ice cream trucks everywhere. I don't know how many ice creams I bought that weekend, but it was
nice.
Fair amount.
It's almost going to be like that here tomorrow and Monday, actually. So it's going to be 70, which I know is Fahrenheit, but Celsius-wise, it's about 22 and sunny.
Oh, 22.
So for a lovely early March day, I'll absolutely take that 100%.
See, in the US it's fine because it's not like it is in the UK, and I can't remember which way around it is. I've been to Spain before and it was like 30 odd degrees and I didn't feel it as much, and I think it was the humidity.
Heat. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm on the East Coast, so we get mainly the Mid-Atlantic. So I don't know if you know U.S. geography very well. Other viewers know the U.S. geography very well, but the Philadelphia area. So once you get in that northeast corridor between like Boston, like not even Boston, but like New York down to like North Carolina, it can be very humid at times. So like 22
Yes.
is like peach perfect.
In the UK, like 22 is just like everybody just wants to not go into work because it's just too warm. But yeah, like I can never remember which way around it is. I think in like Europe and like Spain is like a dry heat, so it doesn't feel as hot. And then in the UK, it's just super humid, so it's very, very sticky, very sweaty, very horrible. Which is why if you ever hear a British person complain about hot weather, that is why. Is because we literally start melting. If you've ever seen an ice cream come out of the freezer, and if you leave it on the side, that is what happens. We defrost. We basically defrost, and we just start melting.
Oh yeah. It's bad. I had a friend actually who lives in Las Vegas, and I absolutely love her to death. I need to actually call her, but she offered me a job because she has her own business. She offered me a job, and I didn't take it. But she's like, "Oh, it's not that hot out here. Sometimes it gets to like 40, 42, in Celsius." And I'm like,
"What?
Excuse me?" I was like, "But it's dry heat, so it's like it's not like it's hot. It's bad, but it's also like it's very dry heat. So that when you go there and you have like a day and it's like 35 to 30, like 33, 34, 35, it's comfortable a little bit because it's so dry being in the middle of the desert." Back on racing for a minute. The yeah, Simon Beek in the your favorite N7 Racing Bentley number 117 just made the move past that lovely pink Ram Racing car, Stay Hughes, in the Mercedes number 9 for P16. So and he's got a BMW behind him in Kadzalia, who is really trying to get unlapped from this 199. But yeah, Beek breaks into the top 15 with that move. So
that is a nice Mercedes, though. That I don't know why. Like,
I love that pink. I love that color pink.
The thing is, I like pink on a race car. I don't know why. It's like Force India a couple of years ago, like pink. They were called the Pink Panthers. I loved it.
Yeah. Yes. Like especially like the Racing Point livery too. The year before they became Aston Martin and F1. Off that car.
Yeah.
But speaking of nice colors, by the way, if we're just going to talk liveries for a second, have a look at P35, Luca Zieg, in Rachel's 350Z. That lovely green. That is fantastic.
That was a nice green.
That is a beautiful green.
I think I've had that on a Bentley as well. It looks very nice on a Bentley.
I think it would look nice on an Aston Martin as well. But Bentley probably a little more. You're right.
As long as it's not a British car, because it's not exactly British racing green, but it's not far off. So I'll accept. I'll have that.
Okay. I'll need you to eventually convince me, by the way, not to buy the Mini Cooper, being as I am
I can't
6'3" in height. I just cannot do the Mini Cooper.
Modern Mini Cooper or classic?
The modern Mini Cooper, but not the 4-door, the 2-door.
Oh, if you got to get a Mini, it's got to be the classic ones, man.
I'll be lucky if I ever have the money for the the modern, let alone the classic.
Tell me about it. I want a Mustang for a car.
There you go. Hey, there you go. Coming to the dark side, American muscle.
1967 Ford Shelby GT 500 Mustang is the car I would want.
Fantastic car.
And I have driven one. Quite a nice little battle for, I do believe, P25. There's about 2-3 cars in the mix. We have Silnilta at the head of it in the 666 McLaren. We have Andrea Santoro in the number 326 BMW, and then we have the 177 Aston not far behind, and then Sam Smeets as well in the 95 Porsche. So 4 cars, all roughly in about a second and a half of each other. Going for positions. So definitely something. And I do believe we will be joined very soon by Mr. Fizzymon as well.
Yeah. Massier Hyla just had something happen because right behind Hyla is Watson, the lap car, and then it's Radosevic, or how do you say it? I think it's
Radosevic.
Yeah, Radosevic, in the Crow Racing team, number 370. So I saw the yellow flag go out on that Ferrari number 213, and I thought maybe it's just lap traffic, but they stayed on that Abbey area a while. Looks like they lost it going into Abbey again.
Abbey again, yeah.
But yeah, so Hyla's lost a little bit of time to Krozen in front, and it's put the 666 or the 370, I should say, beg your pardon, a little bit within striking distance. You're only 1.7 back now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still keeping an eye on the fight for. I mean, is it halfway down the field? Yes. Is it a good battle? Absolutely. That's the thing. It's like, especially with the endurance race, like the fast guys will get out front and they'll pace themselves between each other, and that's how it'll normally stay. Like a lot of them, even within the top 20, there's only a couple of battles going on. It's normally within the in the middle of the field that you normally get some of the best battles. It's like Sinolta is P25, half a second behind that Santoro, half a second behind him is Sam Smeets, who's now only half a second ahead of Waring in the 177. They're all within half a second of each other. It's so good. Like, I love it when they, especially when you get like a little group, because one of them might make a little bit of a mistake, one will take advantage, another one I love it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's all about finding the close battles and following along where the action is, right? But on that note, about maybe one makes a mistake. Sinolta's been penalized. This 666 has already been penalized once. It has a lot of damage as well. So certainly you would hope that we don't see another incident. But Santoro puts a lot of pressure on that McLaren.
I don't think it's going to be that BMW, to be honest.
No, it might be the Porsche, because Smeets is looking really good.
Yeah, I think it'll be the Porsche, to be honest. Smeets has made a lot of time up. Whoever drives a Porsche and can drive it fast, I don't understand it. Like, I've tried to drive the Porsche. I love the sound of the Porsche when it's in 6th gear, though. That whine you get from the gearbox. I don't know why, but I just love it. But yeah, I just can't drive the Porsche like as fast as I can, like a Ferrari or an Aston or even a McLaren.
Maybe that's my issue, because first off, I started playing ACC just like last week, and I'm rubbish at this. But I picked Porsche because they're my favorite manufacturer out of all the cars. Obviously, when you're so green into a game, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a trouble around, not Zandvoort, but what's the other circuit around here that starts with a Z?
Zolder.
It's slipping. Yes, thank you, Zolder.
Oh,
I'm really having trouble keeping it pinned on Zolder.
You did not do. Oh, so okay, you started to race ECC at Zolder in a Porsche.
In a Porsche, yeah.
That is the worst combination you could probably do. The only one that is worse is if you tried in a Porsche at Laguna Seca. That's the only one that's worse. Oh, that Porsche's got him, I reckon.
You know what the funny thing was? I was just going to do a quick race to get used to the car, not go into career mode, and I was going to pick Laguna Seca because I love that track. It's a fantastic
honestly,
track.
It's a lot different in a GT3 car. I know that because I have a race coming up there. Hey, I was Laguna Seca. I can't get it for the life of me. But no, like, the Porsche of Sam Smeets has got past, and got past by a big margin as well. So yeah, very well done coming through to, I believe it was Abbey where they started to make some ground, but definitely on the tail of that McLaren now. But yeah, the Porsche is one of the worst cars to try and learn in the two easiest cars for you: Bentley, Aston Martin, easiest ones to learn ACC.
I was gonna say, you want to know what my second manufacturer would be that I like?
If you're going to say the Mercedes.
No, Lamborghini.
Okay, that's not too bad. The Lambo's not too bad.
Okay.
But yeah, just like you chose the worst car to start out with. The Porsche's one of the hardest to drive.
I can't tell you how many times I had to restart that race in career mode because I just could not
honestly
keep it on the track.
Switch to either an Aston or a Bentley and just get used to it. And honestly, you will get it. And then once you get that, you then start moving into the more interesting cars to drive, where you get like the BMW, the McLaren, the Audi, the Lambo, and the Ferrari, and then you get the hard cars, which are probably the Mercedes and the Porsche, purely because the Porsche is, when it gets light on fuel, it loses a lot of front grip.
Yeah.
The Mercedes has a lot of grip at the front because that's where the engine is, but then if you try and push it too much, the back end, and you're just going to end up doing a Bottas and just taking a Mercedes across the grass for a bit of a lawnmower trip. Honestly, like,
nice.
I think probably one of the easier ones as well is the new BMW, just because of how planted and overpowered that thing was when it first came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a few cars that are still Honda NSX. Not the best to start with. Neither's the.
Oh, but a classic car, the Honda NSX. Oh, such a classic car.
The Nissan GTR or the Jag.
Yeah, another classic car.
They're a little bit harder to grasp.
By the way, Andrea Santoro in P27 getting by the 177 of Josh Waring. So nicely done. P27 for that. There's a few other cars, by the way, that are like the loners on the field, if you will. Tylo Latsuk is down in P30. He's the only Lamborghini. And then we also have a lone, I believe there's a lone Lexus, if I saw.
P34, Marcus.
Yeah, down in P34. So what you're telling me is don't pick those cars either.
You know what we were saying about the McLaren?
Yeah.
It's fallen to the Porsche of Sam Smeets.
Oh.
Quite a...
What was that for? P25?
Oh,
P5, yeah.
It was a bit of a dodgy move up into Luffield, though, I will be honest. He literally stuck his nose up in the McLaren, basically had to just dart away from the line they were taking. That's,
right.
It's a little bit ambitious, but hey, it worked. Let's catch up at the front. How are we doing? No real changes. The 46 McLaren and the 77 are within half a second. Malinowski's pulled about 5 seconds on Grantis Caracas in the McLaren, so Grantis might have had a bit of a wobble there, going off of that one. But yeah, so very soon I do believe we will be joined in the commentary booth by, I believe, Mr. Fizzymon and Timosaurus at some point today.
I'm gonna give him a bit of stick, by the way. I have to.
Oh, what for?
Well, I think he's in a time zone past me, actually, so the Super Bowl was at 6 in the morning here. It would have been at 5 in the morning for him, but I'm gonna give him stick for not being up so early for the start of the race.
I do know who, Fizzy or Tim?
Fizzy. Well, Tim even more so. He's over.
Tim does have other commitments. I do know this.
Yeah, no, we know.
I do know this from last season. I do.
Tell you what's sorry, go ahead.
One thing, I do apologise if anybody during the stream heard a pop or a bang that was on my end, I believe. So if you did hear that coming through, then I do apologise. Hopefully it was only on my end. I will have to have a look at what that was later.
There's 2 cars pitting, by the way. It looks like they're both back markers. Prusak and Balaki are both pitting. So interestingly enough, the 2 back markers. Oh, there's a spin. 23's around.
Yeah. What? Do you know what position they're in?
P38 and looks like the 57 was involved as well. P30 Michelle Rizzo.
Straight in the pits.
Yeah.
Christian Steinhauser. Oh, Revsim Racing. Oh, they did really well last season. Yeah, it does look like it's taken a bit of a whack. Possibly another matter for the stewards. Not had many reports from the stewards recently, which is the good news. There have been a couple of reports, but nothing coming through Nothing coming through in terms of reprimand-wise. So that is the good news. Yeah, I mean, not much. There isn't much really happening on track at the minute, just because everything's kind of in a bit of a lull at the minute. Just as the track conditions are now perfect for the drivers, exactly what they'll want them to be. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's holding station at the moment for a lot of it. So let's have a look back in the. Let's have a look in the top 10. Is there? No, everybody's nicely spaced out at the minute. So everybody's just getting the head down and getting the laps in, I think. So yeah, we've. Benikage has just stepped away for a moment. So, bit of a catch-up. If you have only just joined us here on the AOR YouTube channel, today brought to you by Driver61 and SIMSOK as well. Find out more about how we are connected to those guys in the description. SIMSOK obviously have socks for sim racing. And Driver61, they do driver coaching, and I do believe there is an offer if you use the promotional code. Again, feel free to have a look in the description below. We have been going for just over 2 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes. We have had quite the shake-up if you were here during the Super Pole. So the man on pole position, which I believe was Marlon Andrade, he's currently running in P6. Had a bit of a bad start, and now back on a bit of a recovery drive. The same with the PCDC Motorsports 213. Again, not had the best start. Currently running P23, but definitely fighting their way back up the field. So PCDC definitely having a good show for us once again. I do remember they did put on a bit of a show for us last season as well. So other than that, not very many changes in terms of the last half an hour. A couple of battles that we have seen play out, like the battle for P25. So let's just check in with the guys around there. So a battle for P26, and Radosevich is still keeping tabs with Sam Smeets in the 95 Porsche. We have Santaro currently chasing down this man on your screen, Martin Sinalta in the Beeswax McLaren, the number 666. Again, a couple of these drivers have not had the best race so far. However, a bit of a mention for Michelle Rizzo, currently leader in silver class in the 115 Audi. So doing very well there, keeping a few of the pro drivers behind. In fact, no, not leader in class, because I do believe the 77 is leader in class, Christos Jorgic in the Celtic Bromance, number 77 Aston. So doing very well in the silver class, 9th overall and 1st in class. Very, very well done from them. Let's move further down the field. A couple of battles. Let's have a look at this battle for P28 with Kurt Hodgson and I believe Josh Waring in the 177 Aston Martin, as they come through running a little bit running wide there from Club as they come down the Hamilton straight through to Abbey. McLaren running a little bit wider but keeping it nice and tight for I was going to say turn 2, it's not turn 2, but yeah, definitely keeping very close to the gearbox of that Aston Martin. A couple of custom liveries are on today. Again, just a note, some of them are not working on my end. I do apologise. I'll try and figure out what was going on with that later on tonight.
Number P49, Prusiak has a drive-through penalty. The AMG Mercedes, number 96, down at the bottom of the field, pretty much. But nonetheless, yeah, drive-through penalty for that car. Sorry, just catching up. on how things have changed in the last 2 minutes.
It's pretty much been hold station, to be honest. Currently looking at Hodgson and Waring, P28 and 29. In front of that we have the 326 and the 666 battling for P26, so about 2/10 in it, and they're just under a second up the road from Radosevich in the 370 BMW as well. Who has dropped time to 7 meets actually in that pole show.
There's a Ferrari number 500 Forza Italia.PL Racing running P18 Adam Dubiel right on his tail, and I mean going for the move is actually going to be Dijkstra going on the inside here and can he get the move done? He's got it. Oh, they make contact and he both round. Oh.
So that will be going to the stewards. No,
100%.
Yeah, I mean no places have been lost by either driver. But yeah, that was quite a. It wasn't the biggest whack, but it was enough to send both of them sideways.
No, but fair play to also like Mats Lynham Anderson in third, the PCDC Motorsports car, because he was right behind those two as they were battling. Could have easily been collected by them, and instead he gets around without being caught up in the mess.
Yeah, there's not been much change between the within the top. I'd probably say the top 15. It's just been pretty much hold station for quite a while. So yeah, it's definitely in the. There is always like a lull period in the endurance races, and it does seem that we are currently like in the middle of one of those. Just as everything, just as the drivers do. I think we're coming up to like a third into the race, so we will have a couple more driver changes, possibly some strategy changes due to the weather. But yeah, so it's definitely offset the stints now, just because everybody did have to pit a little bit early for those wet tyres. But depending on how they've kind of like changed, the teams have changed their strategy for. Like their driver swaps, their tyre changes, things like that. They may still keep on schedule for like on the hour, as far as the race goes. So like every hour or so. Some may do a little bit early to just try and kind of like change, like get that time back in.
There's a car up in the back at the 326. Andrea Santoro. Here we are again. Santoro trying to make the move on the 666 of Signalter, and going around. The 199 is also around now. At that's that lovely green of Rachel's 390Z. The Mercedes 199 is around.
Where is that? They need to be they need to be very careful about a track rejoin. That is on the exit of Luffield. So that is a lot of drivers going wide and trying to get a good line through Woodcut.
Well, I would say they did an absolutely fantastic job of making sure of that. But yeah, the really tight, or the 666 involved in another incident. Josh Waring down in 27th now, trying to fight off Kurt Hodgson in the assault squad. That lovely two lovely liveries and going at each other. So have to be careful. They have Haberman right behind them as well. So. But that seems to be the closest battle. We'll see if that 666 gets taken again to the Stewart's inquiry. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I'm just kind of curious as to why this. Look, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, and Chet, you can absolutely call me out if I am. But the 666 seems to be really in quite a tussle with a lot of cars this race so far. So, a penalty's come through. I've seen a penalty come through somewhere on the screen, and that is Okus in P12, accumulating a 15-second time penalty. Raimo Okus of the Flying Estonians, the McLaren number 8, a 15-second time penalty has been awarded, and race control has lit up. So let's see what this is for. Incident involving cars number 8 and 9, 15-second penalty for car number 8 causing a collision, 2 license points as well. So that is the second penalty that's been applied now for car number 8. So another double car on a double penalty. So just really the action is not stopped no matter what. But nonetheless, we get into, I'm trying to get up to, I think, P14. And that is Mikolai Nowicki, Silver Racing Team X Eurowash. Silver Racing Team in Eurowash, BMW number 101. Trying to find the pace around Juan Diaz here in the Butler Powell Motorsports BMW number 555. Battle for P13 currently. So that's one to keep an eye on. You've got Hughes and Chico in 16 and 17 as well, and also Dunditsian and Krozen in 21st and 22nd as well. But the other thing to note, just as I watch this Juan Diaz battle for P13, Grantes Caracas is now 13 seconds behind our leaders. Our leader, the 869, finding the pace again to put the distance between himself and that McLaren 720. So barrier, by the way, up to P4, and yeah, it's we're gonna see what else we've got else along the track in terms of action or close battles. Hughes under pressure, like I said. Stay Hughes, the Ram Racing Mercedes number 9, under a lot of pressure from Marcel Chico, the McLaren number 169, the Drehemont Racing car. Could have a look down here. He's weaving, but there's not enough track for Chico there, so can't get around just yet. And there's a really tight battle in the back with P33. That's Halchin Thunder as well. So still a lot of action around the track, right? There's still some close racing. It's just broken up a little bit more. And yeah, maybe something wrong with that STMP Endurance McLaren number 760, because it does look a little beat up on the sides, but Thunder, Raining Thunder from Goat Racing, the BMW number 444, got right around him and just snatched 30-second off him. So we'll see if what else is there. Another close battle is Waring and Hodgson. Like I said, Celtic Bromance number 177 in the Aston Martin P27, and Kurt Hodgson still very close to each other. That's been that way for a while. And of course, Dunstan and Krozen are the other ones I'm trying to get over there. Yeah, I couldn't get the client installed, right? The broadcast client. So you are clicking positions to change driver views, and I'm using shift and the arrow keys to try and get over there. But yeah, Ilya Dunstan in the SRE, the 920, BMW 920, really trying to hold on to P21 here from Menno Krozen, the front left tire scrubber esports, and the number 781. And Krozen wants to get this move done really nice here, trying to see if he can get it done down the Wellington straight.
Very smooth from the Bentley though. Like, coming through Farwick Village in the loop, that was very, very smooth.
We'll see if he can get the move. He doesn't get it done. That is the Wellington straight. I am correct, right?
Hanger.
So, what's the Wellington? That's Kevin.
Okay, so Hanger Straight is.
No, that is the Wellington straight. I'm looking at the map now.
Oh, have I been getting it wrong?
Came out of. I was like, I know from my years of F1 that's the Wellington. I had to have been right. But yeah, that is the Wellington straight. But nonetheless, because the Hanger Straight's, the Hanger Straight's out of Chapel. So the Wellington straight's out of Loop. I
feel very embarrassed right now. I'm
no, it's all good. It's all good.
I've been to the track twice and I still got it wrong.
It's all good. It's all good because honestly, I'm gonna mess up the corner names between now and 6 hours from now. So don't worry. But yeah, this 781 cannot get close enough to make the pass on Donaldson.
Yeah, that BMW is definitely keeping its pace. So, is that lap traffic they're coming up against? I believe so. It is. So that was, they've just passed P30, the 122 Mercedes, I believe.
So here's a question for you, right?
Go for it.
I'm sure our listeners are not going to be too entertained by this, but you got snacks, I got snacks. What have we gone for?
Oh, I've got, well, in England we've got a like a food shop called Greg's, and
Yep.
you can actually buy from like a supermarket called Iceland. You can actually buy boxes of like some of the like pasties and stuff and like sausage rolls.
Oh, I was gonna say have you gone for a Greg's sausage roll?
I've got two on my plate. I've had one. I will be having one later. It's just like, yeah, you can literally just put them in the oven. Like you can get steak bakes, sausage and bean melts. They're just literally everything.
There you go.
I've also got a Milky Bar, a big Milky Bar. And then I've got like chocolate cornflake bites as well. I got 2 boxes of those. Like I'm done.
Now,
I'm good for snacks this weekend.
nice. Now I've never had the famous Greg's sausage roll, but I have heard they're legendary.
Oh, if you come to the UK, ever come to the UK, you have to get a Greg's sausage roll.
I know. I have had some food of your guys. First off, I've had a full English, and I gotta say, I've had breakfast this morning. Okay, chat. I have had breakfast this morning, but there is nothing in the world that's better for breakfast than a full English. I gotta say, it's just uncomparable.
Really good hangover cure is a full English.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because it's greasy, 100%. It's fatty, and just like so nice. Especially like on a Sunday morning, it's just. But yeah, if you come to the UK, you have to have a proper pub food. It's like proper pub steak, not like you go to a restaurant and you buy a steak. Pub steak, a pub.
Yeah.
And you have to have Greg's. Like a steak bake and a sausage roll are a must. Just because the steak bakes.
There's a lot of food I'm gonna have to try, mate. I'm gonna have to try the kebab over there as well. So, however, I will say one thing. I have had 2 of your foods that I think are absolutely fantastic. First is chocolate fingers, but I mean, who doesn't love that, really, right? Like, let's be real. However, I had a friend who, it's a shame she's no longer with us, but she came from Bosnia, right? And there was a European store. She escaped during the war that they had, the Civil War that they had. God bless her, right? But she came over here, and she used to go to an English store, and she thought I would like something, and it turned out to be one of my favorite snacks of all time, and it's the Jaffa cake. Okay,
Jaffa cakes, yes,
is goated.
Jaffa cake is a staple of British food. Oh, okay. Here's a question for you. Like, okay, this is the portion of the endurance race, just for the chat, where we're keeping an eye on the race. There is a 15-second penalty for the number 8 still to be served, so they're probably going to serve that at the next pit stop. Is the Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit?
It's a biscuit, mate.
No, it's not.
It's a biscuit, mate.
It is not, and do you know why it is not a biscuit?
I mean, that dough is really soft, though. I'll give you that. Like, it's
cake when it goes stale, a cake goes hard. When a biscuit goes stale, it goes soft. If you leave a Jaffa cake out, it will go hard. It goes hard. Yeah, so it is a cake, not a biscuit. A Jaffa cake is a cake, and I will not accept any other argument. Like
I'll say this though, right? Because there is something, right? And me being, that's fine. I just say, me being from Philadelphia, a lot of people tell you to have cheesesteaks if you ever come here, and they're absolutely right. But
I've heard about Philly cheesesteaks.
Please don't get Cheese Whiz on it.
No.
Everyone loves to get the Cheese Whiz on it, and I'm like, no. A good Philly cheesesteak is
isn't Cheese
your
Whiz
local.
Stuff in a can?
Yeah.
Oh God! Why?
That's such a tourist trap, man. Good Philly cheesesteaks have like fresh, sharp, like provolone cheese on them. They're just, they're so good. But yeah, there's a few joints in and around the city. There's actually a big Counter-Strike tournament, amateur Counter-Strike tournament in the city. So I ended up going down after this race is done to go watch the conclusion of into tomorrow.
And get more food.
We're gonna get to Philly cheesesteaks. Yeah, I had some friends from the town agency I commentate through Counter-Strike, and they're all from Atlanta and all that, which is, by the way, another great city. I absolutely love it. But they've come up, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go get a proper Philly cheesesteak on Sunday. Get ready. So if you ever come over here to Philadelphia, definitely
I will
proper
be.
Philly cheesesteak.
One other thing I want to try going to the States is like Texas barbecue, because like, I used to watch Man vs. Food, and like a lot of the things like Texas barbecue, it just looks so nice.
Oh yeah.
Right, let's have a look a little bit further up the field. Marcel Chico is pretty close to, is that Steve Hughes in the Ram Racing Mercedes coming through Stowe, down into Vale. Fairly close, within 0.3 of a second. It's probably the closest we have on track at the moment. The top four are still pretty spread out. Let's have a look how this plays out. So they are keeping very tight. So I love that. Yeah, I love that Mercedes livery. It is really nice.
Oh, it is very nice. You've done better, by the way. I have saltine crackers and dark chocolate covered pretzels. That's what I got, man. So you've beat me on the snacks, my friend. I have to say. But honestly, yeah, watching this battle.
I used to work from home. When obviously all the stuff happened a couple of years ago. I was the king of snacks. Like I would go to the shop and just buy loads of snacks and just have them on my desk, and they'd last me about a day and a half. Just from constant eating.
I'm constantly jealous of my friends because a lot of them work from home or permanent work from home or have moved to permanent work from home since everything happened, and I didn't even have the luxury of any, like I work in a warehouse, so I was considered an essential worker. So we worked pretty much. I worked doubles for like better part of 4 months. It was like 12-hour shifts, six days a week, just to get, you know, cleaning supplies, hand sanitizer, everything else like that. It was I don't want to relive that. That was, everyone was like, oh yeah, we're like, great. That was terrible. But Chico went for that move, by the way, around Chapel, but couldn't get it done. So Marcel Chico still stuck behind this number 9 Mercedes. Hughes is still in front, and you have to think it's only a matter of time before Marcel's able to get around this Mercedes. But to be a little bit more opportune at the time, Chapel's not really the best place to start a move, but definitely on the straight afterwards, that hangar straight is a place to do it. Just maybe a little bit too ambitious early, but the penalties come through, by the way. Our comeback kings, if you would,
I've just
running in P22nd, have been handed a 10-second time penalty. PCDC Motorsports, Massier Hyla, the car number 213, handed a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision with car number 808. And there seems to be another. There's quite a few penalties that have been handed out here. Actually, there's a 10-second time penalty on the 999 of the BMW 999 and P35. Is that by ACC or is that by the race steward?
No,
I'm seeing that the race steward.
That's by the stewards. Cars 26 and 999, 10-second time penalty for 999 for causing a collision. No license points for either drivers, which is probably the better news of that.
Right. There's also there's a stop-go 30-second time penalty for Hudson in P30. That's just been awarded to McLaren number 6 as a 30-second stop-go, and then also I thought I saw a 5-second time penalty as well. Just a little tiny 5-second time penalty, but maybe my eyes are deceiving me, or maybe it's already been served. One of the two, but yeah.
It's pit lane one.
With the stop go? Yeah.
These two are still going at it. Chico's still keeping with this Mercedes. He's gonna have a look into He's having a look into Star. probably a little bit closer than they probably would have wanted. He's not happy about that. Fully entitled to defend the position. That McLaren
Absolutely.
is not giving up.
Maybe on the run down here to Abbey. We'll see. But
Coming through Abbey, the McLaren's very tight. He's having a look. Oh, he's having a look into farm. Oh, pushing,
he got it done.
squeezing the Mercedes wide. Squeezing the Mercedes very wide there. The Mercedes is coming back on the inside of the loop, but I think McLaren's just got it.
oh man,
That was pretty close, and now the McLaren's on the defensive, coming into Brooklyn. Sorry. Moving
you got to be
across-
careful because Caracas is right behind him as well. So blue flags are going to be
Yeah.
waving. They're going to want to get out of the way of this car.
It depends on where they let them go. So the Mercedes has let Grantis go, which is probably good for the Mercedes actually. Keeping on the back of that McLaren will just give him a little bit against the other McLaren. But we'll have to see, because it does look like that. It does look like the 169 has pulled out a little bit of a gap. Not just because of the blue flags there.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, and Cheek, yeah, Hughes is trying to stay close to that that blue and yellow car of Caracas, but so Chico has not moved over yet. Caracas has not really been close enough yet either, right? So.
Not really, no. I mean, I think you get blue flags if you're within a second.
Well, I would say he's definitely within a second, but he's not. It's not like he wants to wait till he's definitely closer to make the pass, right? Like he doesn't want to just give it up all of a sudden. But
Yeah, I mean that's where.
oh, a drive-through's been awarded, by the way, for is that P39 Patrick Janasiewicz. STMP Endurance. I probably butchered that last name. He's coming in to serve it right now, actually.
What was the drive-through for?
I have no idea. I have not.
I'm going to say track limits on that one because it hasn't been done by the AOR stewards.
Correct.
So it's probably another track limits. So, bit of an update as to why people are getting drive-thrus for track limits. If you are a bit new to the ACC, during a race you get 3 warnings for exceeding track limits and gaining an advantage. However, you will get 3 warnings, and on your 4th offence you will get a drive-through penalty. For speeding in the pit lane, it is a stop-and-go 30-second penalty. Any other penalties are awarded by the AOR steward upon review of an incident, as well as a little bit of an update on blue flags. If you have come from the Formula 1 community and asking why someone's not getting out of the way, that is because in GT racing, with blue flags, you don't have to let them by immediately. Ideally, what you do is you let them by when it is best for ideally both drivers. Dennis Latz has taken the new fastest lap of the race with a 1:58.237. Very respectable time in the 57 Vanwall SimSport BMW. As I think a couple more drivers are coming in for their stops now. But yeah, so blue flags in GT racing are shown when the car in front is a lap car and they're within a second, but you don't necessarily have to let them by immediately. Ideally you need to do it when it's appropriate, you need to do it safely, but ideally you don't want to lose much time to the car behind as well, which is where I've currently lost them. Was it the 160 McLaren?
I don't know. That fastest lap, by the way, from Lads is purple in sectors 1 and 3. So.
Oh, he's down in sector 2. Oh. Honestly.
Yeah. But what's the how long do you get before you're penalized if you ignore blue flags?
You are ignoring blue flags depends on the severity, and that is normally determined by the stewards if it affects the car who is trying to lap you. So normally that will get reported, and the game will not apply a penalty. Yeah, we are getting to the next round of pit stops now. A lot of them are coming in, including Grantis Caracas is taking a pit stop as well. So yeah, you're not immediately awarded a
Right.
You're not immediately awarded a penalty. Again, that goes to review by the stewards. However, obviously you want to do it in the most opportune time for both the driver behind you and obviously yourself as well. So maybe if you're coming into a heavy braking zone, just let off a little bit, let the car behind go ahead, but then also try and obviously cover your line to make sure that you don't let the car behind get past you as well, which is something that's very tricky to do depending on how close the cars are, but it can be.
There's a car around. It's the leader. The leader spun. I'm sorry to cut you off. Maciej Malinowski has gone around at Abbey, and it seems to be the turn everyone's tripping up at. But he is spun. He's still in the lead, but that time deficit is going to be cut very significantly back to Caracas. So the leader going around at Abbey.
I think Malinowski may have got away with it because Caracas was in the pits at the time, so he may have got lucky with that. I think he's coming into the pit. Yeah, he's coming into the pits now.
By the way, there's another 30-second stop and go for a car in P25, I believe that is. Yes, Dunstan is got a 30-second stop and go penalty, speeding in the pit lane. So, interestingly to note as well, by the way, Chinson, we've got Dennis Latz, that fastest lap, as you mentioned, the Van Wall Sim Sport, number 57 BMW. Less than a second behind is the other Van Wall Sim Sport, Andy van der Velde, BMW number 8. So 5th and 6th for the two Van Wall Sim Sport cars. Probably the closest of anybody towards each other in the top 10, bar maybe Sinolter and Du down in 17th and 18th. Of course, Sinolter up to 17th because he hasn't pitted yet. So we'll see if he does do so in the coming laps. But yeah, both the Van Wall Sim Sports cars running in the top 10.
P3's got a drive through. That's the PCDC car. Oh, P3.
Oh,
Number 12
disaster.
Aston. Oh. I'm a bit annoyed at that one. I've got a soft spot for the PCDC boys because they always like to put on a show, and they normally do quite well for like a comeback story. They had a couple of comeback stories last season as well. Oh, that's going to hurt them because I do believe they've just done a driver change as well from Mats Lennon Anderson to Isidfar as well. So that is yeah,
and
couple of driver changes now. So who do we have in the cars now?
I gotta say, Mats Lennon Anderson, by the way, what a great stint. You know, kept the car pretty much up there the whole time.
Yeah, big props to Mats Anderson there. That was absolutely stellar work. Now got Brian Isidfar in the car, as well as Samir Foch in the leading car, the 869. And we also have a change to, if I can find the car on my sheet, it is Mantas Povelatis, currently in the 720. So we'll see how these guys get on with the conditions. Obviously, ZFR does have that driving through to serve. They have 3 laps to do so, or they will get a time penalty or worse. Yeah, a little bit sad to see for the BCDC boys, but we will obviously.
Well, there's been a drive-through penalty for P number 25, Ivo Zorin. The Crow Racing team stop-go 30-second time penalty for that team as well. So
That was speeding in the pit lane.
Yep. So there's penalties galore being handed out here, it looks like. So
yeah, if people in the chat are wondering as to how we can guess why the penalties have been applied, they will normally get applied for common common reasons. So in terms of the drive-throughs, that is after your track limits warnings, and then the stop goes after we're spinning in the pit lane. But I believe we are joined in the commentary box by one Mr. Fizzy who's a little bit busy. Please excuse the rhyme there. And one
When's
Mr. Tinosaurus.
When's the mixtape, my friend?
Welcome to the commentary
I'm
booth,
here for the
gentlemen.
mixtape. Hello, welcome. Yeah, glad to be here, boys. You've done a sterling job. Sadly, I haven't managed to watch very much of it. I've been busy doing dad stuff all day, but glad to be here. It's the grid's looking a little bit different to how I expected it to be. What have I missed? Give me a quick fill in.
So the formation lap started dry. It went to wet before the start of the race. Went dry again. Went soaking wet. It's now dry. We've had crashes, spins, and penalties. So you have missed a fair bit.
Right. I think I caught the very, very beginning of the race, and I was amazed to see that, because it was the BMW on pole, wasn't it? But I was amazed that when I was watching when I watched the stream, it almost looked like the Ferrari was ever so slightly in front, and I was like, really? I can't believe it when I was watching it, but I may have been wrong from where I was sat. I couldn't believe it, but I thought there was going to be a penalty rolling through, but evidently not. I'm just having a little look at all the different cars out there now. So I'm having a flick through on my end. Some fantastic liveries out there today.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tim, not all of them have shown up for me today. Some of them have worked in my client, but they've not shown up on the server for me, so I'm not sure whether that's just me or whether it's something bigger. But yeah,
if they're appearing in your in-game menu but not appearing now they're in the stream, that's an issue with their end.
Okay.
So that could be that they've...
There were a couple after Super Bowl that weren't showing up, so I reinstalled and double-checked them before the start of the race. So some of them might still not be working, I don't know. I'm not sure who submitted a livery and who hasn't, so...
It's not the end of the world. The main thing is that you guys have been pounding away at the chat for nearly 3 hours now. Yeah. So
we have got round to talking about food, though. So you're in time for that. You're definitely in time for that. Oh, Tim, here's a question. Jaffa cake, is it a cake or a biscuit?
It's a cake.
Thank you.
And the reason behind it is, if you leave a biscuit, let's say a digestive, out, and you leave it out of the packet on the side, it goes soft. Yep. If you leave a Jaffa cake out, much like if you leave a piece of sponge cake, like a Victoria sponge, it will go hard. Yeah, so that is my reasoning. And also, it's called a Jaffa cake.
Yeah.
So.
Also, though, to be real, who in the world is leaving it out that long? Because quite frankly, I'm eating the entire pack before it even gets close to that stage.
Do you know who does that? Children do it. Children do it because they're at a party, they see a great big plate of Jaffa cakes, and they're like, I need 37 of those. And then what happens is they grab them, they put their little greasy mitts all over them, and everyone kind of looks and goes, I don't really want them anymore. And then later in the day, when you're just completely fed up of listening to children yelling at the top of their voice and the sounds of party poppers and balloons going, then at that point you're pretty much happy to eat anything. So you just start shoveling in stale Jaffa cakes.
A little bit of
Fair
an
enough.
update on the racing for you. There are 4 cars currently fighting for P17.
Yeah.
P16, sorry. So that makes... still makes 4 cars, I just can't count. So we have P16, who is the N7 boy, is currently being overtaken by the Ram Racing Mercedes into Stowe. Absolutely baller move. You then have the 48 PCDC car of Erdmann, 3/10 back, which I do believe has just got passed as well. And then what else have we got going on?
Well, we have a real quick, a 30-second stop-go penalty for Olaf Sosjuk in P27, the GTWR RHE Academy Mercedes number 122. He's coming in actually to serve that now. And then a drive-through. Oh, Metternich is off, by the way. Bernd Metternich, or Metternich, I should say, is off of the track. Lost it at Cops. He's now rejoined down in P26, yeah. But also there's a drive-through for Mr. Bowers down in P41. Adam Bowers, WB Racing, Ferrari number 147 with a drive-through.
Yeah, there's been, there has been quite a few drive-throughs and stop-goes. More drive-throughs for anything. I think the majority of the penalties so far have come through when it was when the track was just absolutely soaked.
Super easy track to pick up track limit warnings here, though, isn't it? Lots of places where you can go wide, lots of deep corners. Stowe, really easy to go really super deep there. Trying to think where else as well. I mean, Cops, big one for that as well. Really easy to sort of go outside the limits. Even Abbey, sometimes you'd be surprised. You can pick up a few track warnings there where you can go a little bit wide. So not surprised after 3 hours, a couple of these guys have been picking up the older drive-through penalties just because we're pushing so hard. To say Tier 1, it's really, really close.
We've had an incident between the 176 of Yaroslav Antonov and the 7 of Heiko, the Project Remnants Bentley at, it's like coming out of Abbey, those two having a collision. So 2 of the back markers having collision right as the midfield, like the cars just outside the top 10, like Wojciech Radziak, the Silver Racing Team Eurowash BMW, was coming around to them. So.
Okay, so a little bit of an update on. I've just seen on my broadcasting tool who's currently driving for the 117 Bentley. It says S-Do. They've entered their name as Scooby-Doo.
That's great. Another drive-through, by the way, coming through. Kirill Ivanov, the Serpentine Motorsport Bentley number 87 with a drive-through as well, down in P37.
Yeah.
Tim, glad to have you along. How was you doing stuff with the kids? Obviously, how was your morning? Though?
Well, I got up at 5 a.m. this morning, went to work for a little bit till 10. And then I left that hellhole to go to the next hellhole, IKEA. So, been off doing that.
What are you on about? IKEA's amazing.
To be fair, it is all right. It's just it's been a long day already, and obviously I'm here till the end of the race with Fizzy and also yourself, Benikage. You're in with us as well. It's up for points. Yep. So it's going to be a long old day for me. So I've got my giant pint of Red Bull in front of me. I've also got a glass of water in case I need it. So hopefully, we can keep the energy going. I'm not going to sweat to death too much in my stairs cupboard.
How is it that Tim's the one that's got the water in the Red Bull and I'm the one that's got the mug of Yorkshire tea?
That's because I've already had like 8,000 cups of tea.
Okay, fair enough.
We do have
the fact that you have Yorkshire tea, though, is fantastic. Yes. A round of applause for that. I mean, that's absolutely perfect. It is the best tea by far.
Tim will critique your snack options today, Benny. I will say that.
No.
A bit of action on track. We do have a battle for P8 currently between 3 cars. I will also make that known for Fizzy, because I unfortunately will have to love and leave you all. I do have some other things to do in just under an hour. So if you go to the following link in the chat, our one and only Fizzymon is up with the second part of the endurance, this endurance race, where you can catch up. So head on over there and make sure you say hello, because that is Fizzy in control, not myself. But yeah, we can continue the food talk on that one. I'm just going to make sure that Fizzy's keeping an eye on the race as well.
On that note, I am here, Chinson, and we are all good to go on the other end.
Okay, so on that note, everybody who's watching part 1, please go and hop across to the one in chat. I've just disconnected from Pitwall so that you can log into it. Fizzy. And yeah, hop on over there. That is where the stream will continue. And Fizzy, Tim, and Benny will see you out for a good few hours.
Thank you ever so much for your work, mate. It's been amazing.
No worries at all. Yes, I can, Fizzy. I will send that across for you. So yeah, just head on over to the second one, and yeah, I will be ending it very, very shortly.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a rough start here for me, trying to get back into the box here. But now that I am talking, I see